Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
And you made it to the end of a week. It's a Friday edition here, and we're going to take a look at crime with Brian Donlevy in Dangerous Assignment, Mr. District Attorney starring Jay Jostyn, also the Screen Directors Playhouse, Rogue's Retirement starring Dick Powell, and we'll wrap it all up with an episode of Claudia. That's all coming up on this Friday, and you know what that means. This is the 17th day of May, 138th day of the year, 228 days remaining. In L.A. on this date in history, police surrounded a home in Compton, California, where the leaders of the terrorist organization known as the Symbionese Liberation Army were hiding out. The SLA had kidnapped Patricia Hearst of the fabulously wealthy Hearst family publishing empire months earlier, earning them headlines across the country. Police found this house in Compton where a local mother reported that kids had seen a bunch of people playing with an arsenal of automatic weapons in the living room of the home. While Hearst was among them, she recorded this statement.
I died in that fire on 54th Street, but out of the ashes I was reborn. I know what I have to do. Our comrades didn't die in vain. The pig lies about the advisability of surrender have only made me more determined.
Now, it was on this date in 1974, L.A. police shot an estimated 1,200 rounds of ammunition into the tiny Compton home as 6 SLA members shot back. Tear gas containers thrown into the hideout started a fire. The SLA refused to surrender. Autopsy results showed they continued to fire back even as smoke and flames were searing their lungs. They clearly chose suicide and martyrdom over jail. Randolph Hearst, Patty's father, remarked the massive attack had turned dingbats into martyrs. The raid led 6 SLA members dead, including leader Don DeFries, also known as Cinque. Patricia Hearst was not inside the home at the time. She wouldn't be found until September of 1975. Now, in Washington on this date in history, in 1973, the Senate Select Committee on Presidential Campaign Activities, headed by Senator Sam Ervin of North Carolina, began televised hearings on the escalating Watergate affair.
We are beginning these hearings today in an atmosphere of utmost gravity. The questions that have been raised in the wake of the June 17 break-in strike at the very undergirding of our democracy. If the many allegations made to this date are true, then the burglars who broke into the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee at Watergate were in effect breaking into the home of every citizen of the United States.
1 week later, Harvard professor Archibald Cox, no relation, sworn in as special Watergate prosecutor. He was a law professor. In 1954, on this date, in a major civil rights victory, the U.S. Supreme Court handed down a unanimous decision in Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka, ruling racial segregation in public educational facilities was unconstitutional. Now, the historic decision brought an end to federal tolerance of racial segregation, specifically dealt with Linda Brown, a young African-American woman who had been denied admission to her local elementary school in Topeka, Kansas, because of the color of her skin. An Iraqi jet aircraft fired missiles at the American frigate USS Stark. On this date in 1987, 37 U.S. Navy personnel killed, 21 wounded. 4 days later, President Reagan paid tribute to the sailors.
The fallen sailors of the USS Stark understood their obligations. They knew the importance of their job. So, too, I believe that most Americans today know the price of freedom in this uneasy world.
It was found that the Stark was 2 miles outside the exclusion zone, had not violated neutrality, as Iraq had claimed. Iraq apologizing, Saddam Hussein said the pilots misunderstood the Stark for an Iranian tanker. How could you make that mistake? Well, he's an Iraqi. In 1994, Al Unser Sr. announced retirement from auto racing, ending one of the greatest IndyCar careers of all time. Radio quiz show Information Please broadcast on this date for the first time in 1938. Until Information Please, radio quiz shows generally posed difficult questions to ordinary people. Information Please assembled a panel of experts and intellectuals, asked them tricky questions. The show would run for 10 years. On this date in 1990, the last episode of primetime soap opera Falcon Crest aired. The show revolved around the doings of a California winery, and it ran for nearly 9 years. And it was on this date in 1992, band leader Lawrence Welk died of pneumonia. He was 89.
1961.
And though his shows are out of production today, they continue to air on public television stations across the nation. Others passing away on this date in history include Tony Randall, Frank Gorshin, Donna Summer, who still loves to love you, baby, the man who wrote The Caine Mutiny and the Winds of War, Herman Wouk, and the man who wrote Chariots of Fire, Vangelis. Birthdays on this date include actress Maureen O'Sullivan, Pride and Prejudice, and Tarzan. The first Watergate special prosecutor, as you mentioned earlier, Archibald Cox, he was born on this date, and he's still not related. Born in Dodge City, Kansas on this date, actor Dennis Hopper. You remember him from True Grit, Blue Velvet, Easy Rider, Land of the Dead, and the TV series E-Ring. Also, actor Bill Paxton, born on this date in history, Word Science, Aliens, Twister, True Lies, and Danny in Full House, and you saw him on America's Funniest Home Videos, Bob Saget, all born on this date in history.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
Boxer Charles Leonard, probably better known as Sugar Ray Leonard, born on this date, 68 years old today. Craig Ferguson, former Late Show host, and he's now doing stand-up across the nation. Craig Ferguson, 62. From Red Sonja, Rocky IV, and Domino, Bridget Nielsen is 61. 9 Inch Nails lead man Trent Reznor is 59. You remember her from All My Children, and April O'Neil in the live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Paige Turco, 59. From NCIS and Dawson's Creek, Sasha Alexander is 51. From Twilight, Nikki Reed is 36. The delightful singer, songwriter, Julia Ann San Jose is 30 today. And turning 63, Anya. From her album Watermark, the 1997's tune Only If, Anya, 63 years old today. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 17th day of May as their birthday, and if this happens to be your birthday...
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
And we'll start off by taking a look at the events of May 17th, 1950. And shows from that date, starting off with Brian Donlevy in an episode of Dangerous Assignment entitled The Lost City. That's 74 years ago today. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on a Friday.
Civil defense is common sense. Hi, this is Tony Bennett. Make sure you're prepared if a nuclear attack ever comes.
And we start off right now by going back to Wednesday, May 17th, 1950, 74 years ago today. That is our featured date today. And we will start off by an episode of The Dangerous Assignment starring Brian Donlevy. This episode is entitled The Lost City.
Wheaties presents Dangerous Assignment. On stage tonight from Hollywood, Dangerous Assignment, another in the Wheaties' big parade of exciting half-hour presentations. Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell.
Yeah, danger is my assignment. I get sent to a lot of places I can't even pronounce. They all spell the same thing, though, trouble. But when I walk into the commissioner's office, I don't realize that this assignment is going to end up with me depending for my life on my own cigarette lighter. Morning, Commissioner.
Get out your pith helmet, Steve. You're leaving for Arabia on the next plane.
Arabia? Now, look. My days as a camel jockey are over.
Don't worry. You won't be riding any camels unless you find some carrying oil in their humps.
Oil? What's the deal?
That's the deal. 100,000 barrels of it. Missing.
Look, since when have we been playing nursemaid to oil companies?
This is a lot bigger than any oil company, Steve. 3 days ago, the Sheik's inspector found a discrepancy in the figures of one of the oil companies, the 5-Star. Unless the matter is cleared up to the Sheik's satisfaction, we may lose the entire concession.
Oh, who do I talk to over there?
Mr. Williams, the field manager of 5-Star. Their headquarters are in Marani, near the Persian Gulf. Steve, get over there and find out what happened to that oil. Well, that's it. You've got your assignment. Good luck.
I have a recipe for you. Now, it's real simple, so you needn't bother writing it down. Take 4 or 5 people, or as many as your family holds. Add an equal number of cereal bowls, pour in Wheaties, into the bowls, that is. Now garnish with milk and fruit and sweeten to taste. This recipe is very good for breakfast, or lunch, or as a little something before bed, depending on when you decide to make it. Now, the reason it's so good is because the 100% whole wheat Wheaties flakes and the 100% nice people you use always blend perfectly. I do hope you'll try my favorite recipe soon, but be sure you use genuine Wheaties and real people.
Now, here is Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy in the role of Steve Mitchell, colorful, two-fisted government agent.
Yeah, this is going to be a breeze. All I have to do is fly halfway around the world to a sweltering spot in Arabia, take care of a little matter like finding a mere 100,000 barrels of missing oil. And I've got a strong hunch that somewhere along the line I'll run into someone who'll say, drop dead to me and mean it. It's Thursday when I get to Marani, and Williams, the field manager of 5-Star Oil, is waiting for me in his office, together with his assistant, a guy named Haroon.
Well, I'll tell you all I know, Mitchell, but that isn't much. On our last shipment, the Sheik's inspector claimed we were 10,000 barrels short of what their figures showed we'd pumped out of the ground. The Sheik gets royalty on every barrel, so he was pretty sore about it.
Yeah, I can imagine, Williams.
Haroon here can probably tell you more about this than I can. I was on a business trip to Cairo when it all came up. As my assistant, Haroon was in charge here.
I see. What happened after the discrepancy was spotted, Haroon?
In order to pacify the Sheik, we passed the matter off as an error in our bookkeeping and paid the royalty. But then we started investigating quietly and discovered that over the past month there has been a loss of 100,000 barrels.
Well, tell me, what happens to the oil from the time it leaves the wells until it's shipped out of here?
The wells are north of here. The oil's pumped down here to Marani through a patrol pipeline. There's a checker on each end of the line.
Then, as I get it, on this particular shipment, your checker at the fields checked a certain amount of oil into the pipeline, but your checker at this end checked out 10,000 barrels less.
Yes, it was his first day on the job.
Oh? Well, what happened to the regular checker?
Oh, you mean Yusef. The evening before, he died in a cafe brawl.
Oh, that's very interesting. Where did this fight take place?
At the Oasis Club. Yusuf went there regularly. He was very fond of the dancing girl, Sarita, and very jealous of her. She is believed to be the reason for the fight.
I see. Well, I think I'll go over to the Oasis Club and see what I can turn up there. I'll see you around, gentlemen.
Good evening, Effendi. Welcome to the Oasis Club. You would like a table?
That dancing girl out there, is her name Sarita?
Oh, yes. That is Sarita. Is she not beautiful?
Yeah. I guess she's not afraid of catching cold either.
I do not understand, Effendi.
Oh, skip it. Will you tell her I'd like to talk to her when she's through with her dance?
At once, Effendi. Her table is over in the corner. If you will wait there, I will send her to you.
Thank you.
Yes?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was Sarita's table.
Oh, but it is. Sit down.
Oh, thanks. Are you a friend of Sarita's?
Of a sort. And you?
Well, I'm sort of a friend of hers.
I see. Oh, here she comes now.
Mm-hmm.
You are the one who wished to see Sarita?
Yeah. My name's Steve Mitchell.
I see the two of you have already met.
Well, not officially.
This is Triflis.
Hi.
Delighted.
And what do you wish of Sarita, Mr. Mitchell?
Little information about your dead boyfriend, Yusuf.
Many men are in love with Sarita, Mr. Mitchell. It is a pity, but it is fate. Yusuf was merely one of them.
I see. Well, was it fate that killed him?
I do not understand.
How did it happen?
It was during my dance. I heard sudden shouts. Then the lights went out.
Such a pity. I might have saved Yusuf had I acted more quickly.
What do you mean, Triflis?
Well, I was standing over at the bar when the fighting started, but just as I got to Yusuf, the lights went out and there he was, lying on the floor with a knife in his back. Such a pity. He was a very dear friend of mine. I miss him greatly.
Did Yusuf ever mention his job with a 5-star to you, Sarita?
No. Sarita is not interested in such things.
Oh? What sort of things is Sarita interested in?
Her beauty.
Modest little daisy, aren't you?
Modesty is for the unlovely.
Is she not completely charming, Mitchell?
Well, that's one word for it. This fight that killed Yusuf took place 4 nights ago, right?
Let me see. Yes, that is correct. I remember because the next morning I made a business trip to the coast.
What kind of business you in, Triflis?
Several little enterprises. This trip involved one of them, a truck line which I operate.
What do you haul?
Oil. From here in Marani to the town of Qatif on the Persian Gulf.
You don't haul for the 5-star oil company by any chance, do you?
Well, as a matter of fact, yes. They are one of my accounts.
I see. Oh. Thanks for the conversation, Sarita. Triflis. It was very interesting.
Yes?
This swindle has undoubtedly been going on for some time. Yes. If the missing total adds up to 100,000 barrels. Now, look, suppose all the oil has reached this end of the line. Could amounts of it be stolen after that?
Why, it would be very difficult.
What happens to the oil after it gets here?
It is pumped into large storage tanks.
Are those tanks checked regularly?
Fairly regularly.
Well, then, after that, the oil is pumped into trucks and taken to the town of Qatif on the Persian Gulf.
Why, yes. I believe I forgot to tell you that.
I picked it up. Is it possible that a couple of extra truckloads could be slipped out without the company knowing it?
Absolutely impossible. I checked the trucks out myself.
I see. Incidentally, a guy named Triflis runs that truck line, doesn't he?
Why, yes, he does.
You know much about him?
Why, of course. I'm sure he's a man of character.
How do you know?
Triflis is my brother-in-law.
Oh?
Hello, Mitchell. Turned up anything so far?
Oh, nothing except a bunch of loose ends, Williams.
That's too bad. Means my job if this mess isn't cleared up.
It means your whole company and all the other oil companies, too. Look, you say this pipeline is patrolled.
Yes. By plane, every day.
Who's your pilot?
Guy named Dean. Matter of fact, he should be getting ready to take off right now.
Well, call the airfield and tell Dean to wait for me. I'd like to go along for the ride. Lots of sand down there, Dean.
You can say that again, Mitchell. A lot of sand and a lot of pipe. And this is about the most monotonous job in the world.
Yeah, I can imagine. You keep this baby at a pretty low altitude, don't you?
Have to, so I can spot leaks in the line.
Look, could anyone tap into the pipeline without your spotting it?
I don't see how. Even if they tried it at night, I fly so low I could spot the tire tracks the next day. And you can see yourself there's not a track in that sand for miles around.
Yeah. Hey, getting kind of dark. I guess waiting for me made you later than usual, huh?
Oh, a little, but that's okay.
The water over there, is that the Persian Gulf?
Yeah.
How far from here is it?
Oh, 8 to 10 miles.
What are those ruins over there on the coast?
That's what they call the lost city of Inzak. Several thousand years old. Great spot for archaeologists.
Wait a minute.
What's the matter?
I thought I saw a light over there.
Probably a reflection off the water. Nobody's been around there for at least 6 months. The last expedition was from London, I think. They still have their equipment stored in a warehouse over in Qatif down the coast.
Oh, yeah? Hey, just a hunch, but I think I'll take a trip over to Qatif as soon as you get this buggy back home. It's night when I get to Qatif. I nose around until I locate the warehouse right on the waterfront and all boarded up. The sign on it says Royal Institute of Archaeology, London. I nose around some more and find out that the warehouse is owned by an outfit called Gulf Enterprises. I head for their office. I wonder if you could tell... Well, my old friend Triflis.
Oh, Mitchell, is it not?
It is?
Yes, but of course. We met at the Oasis Club in Marani only last evening. The beautiful Sarita...
Yes, my compliments to the beautiful Sarita. Don't tell me that you run Gulf Enterprises.
Why not?
Looks like you're a pretty enterprising gent. A truck line, a warehouse.
Warehouse? Oh, yes, the one at the waterfront. I had almost forgotten the place. I have not been near there in months.
That archaeology outfit rents it from you, huh?
Yes. They still have much of their equipment stored there. They send me a check every few months from London. Why'd you ask?
Oh, just curious. You seem to have your finger in quite a few pies, Triflis.
Indeed.
Indeed. You truck oil here to the coast for the 5-star outfit. You also happen to own a warehouse that's rented to an outfit who's been poking around in some ruins up the coast.
And?
And you also happen to be the brother-in-law of Haroun, the assistant manager of 5-star, to say nothing of being a friend of the dead checker, Yusef.
This is all quite accurate and interesting, Mitchell. But what does it prove?
It doesn't prove anything, Triflis, but it sure sounds like a nice, cozy arrangement. I'll be seeing you. I head back to the warehouse and try to get in, but it's boarded up tight. I circle around it to the water. The back end of the building rests on a pier. Then I spot something under the pier, a good-sized barge. I climb aboard, and a strong smell hits me. Oil. Now I know I'm getting warm. Then I hear a sound behind me. I spin around and spot 3 gents in white robes, and just one look at them tells me they don't want to shake hands. I swing on the nearest one. He goes down. I hit the water. Start swimming.
Miguel, do not let him get away! Hey, take careful aim!
I didn't think of them for guns. I've got to get underwater, but just as I start to dive... Oh!
Now, here's something you'll be glad to hear. There aren't any rules. You can eat Wheaties any old way you happen to like them. It's all we could do. Every time we think up a nice, easy rule, like putting milk and fruit on Wheaties, some guy out in Seattle is caught using cream. If we decide on strawberries, sure as shooting, people start smuggling a banana to the table. One time we made a rule about Wheaties and peaches, and we found a Southern lady eating Wheaties right out of the box. We say Wheaties for breakfast, and women put them in their husbands' lunch pails. We say eat them at bedtime, you take them on picnics. You're wonderful. So, like I say, there aren't any rules. Well, maybe just 2. Eat Wheaties the way you like them. And buy them at your grocery anytime you need them.
Now back to Dangerous Assignment and Steve Mitchell.
There he is, floating in the water. Stop the launch. Abura, Abdul, pull him out of the water. Easy, easy. So, put him down on deck.
Oh, my head.
Oh, he's still alive.
You want to bet?
You're lucky.
This is lucky?
It appears the bullet merely creased the skull.
Well, if it's all the same to you, I like to part my hair on the other side. Hey, look, who are you?
Lieutenant Samka of the police. We heard shots and came here in the launch to investigate. You were floating in the water about to go under.
Well, thanks for fishing me out.
It's now my turn to ask questions. Who are you?
Steve Mitchell.
Steve Mitchell. Ah, yes, a government agent from the United States.
You've got big ears, Lieutenant.
It is my business. Start the launch, Abdul. Yes, you are here to investigate the oil scandal. Or is the purpose of your visit rather to whitewash the company involved?
That's a pretty bad guess, Samka. Hey, where are we going?
Back to the dock.
Well, it's been a short acquaintance, but a happy one, Lieutenant. Thanks again.
Oh, do not think that our acquaintance will be ended when we reach the dock, Mitchell. I will be seeing you again soon.
Oh?
Yes, indeed. I will make a point of it, Mitchell.
I go back to my hotel and change into dry clothes. My head's throbbing plenty, but I know I've still got a big night's work ahead of me. I phone the commissioner and ask him to check on the Royal Institute of Archaeology in London. An hour later, he calls me back and tells me the phonies, it's an outfit. So there's no record of them in London. Next, I call Williams, the field manager.
What's on your mind, Mitchell?
Ever hear of the lost city of Inzac, Williams?
Sure. Bunch of ruins up the coast away. Why?
I want to take a trip up there in a hurry.
How do those ruins tie into the deal?
That's what I want to find out. Can you get your pilot to fly me up there?
Tonight?
Tonight.
There's no place to land around there.
That's why I'll need a parachute.
Parachute? You gonna jump?
You know a quicker way of getting down?
No, but... Okay, Mitchell. If you think it'll accomplish anything, go ahead. It's probably too late as far as I'm concerned, though.
What do you mean?
Just got a call from the president of the company. He wants me to meet him in Cairo. I got a strong hunch I'm gonna get canned. So I guess you are on your own. But be careful, Mitchell.
Yeah. How about the plane?
I'll call Dean right now and tell him to get out of the airfield and warm it up. He'll be ready for you in a couple of hours.
Sorry to pull you out of the sack, Dean.
That's okay. We're just about warmed up. Here, they sent this parachute for you.
Thanks. You know, it's a long time since I've had one of these babies on.
Mitchell!
Huh?
Mitchell!
Oh, Lieutenant Samka.
Yes, Lieutenant Samka. Where do you think you're going?
On a little plane trip. Look, are you my official bodyguard or something?
In this case, I am your official fellow passenger.
Oh? Well, I don't think you'll like this trip, Samka. It involves a parachute jump.
Well, then I must provide myself with the necessary equipment.
Hey, that's my parachute.
It was your parachute. Now it is mine.
Look, if you want to go on this trip, get your own.
Thank you, but I prefer yours. It might be safer.
Oh, you don't trust me at all, do you?
Frankly, no.
Well, what am I supposed to use for the jump? A beach umbrella?
I think there's another parachute in the hangar, Mitchell.
Okay. Well, I'll be with you in a minute.
Well, as long as you two guys are determined to jump, you picked a good night for it. Look at that moon.
Yeah. Aren't those the ruins just ahead?
Uh-huh. We're a little to the windward of them. You should land pretty close.
This about the right spot, Dean?
Anytime.
Well, see you on the ground, Samka. Here goes. I bail out. The air rushes by me while I jerk at the ripcord. The chute streams out behind me. I start praying. Then she snaps open and yanks me upright. I look down at the moonlit desert, and then... It's Samka. But his chute didn't open. I turned my head away, and then I realized his chute was supposed to be my chute. And I'm pretty sure that somebody has made sure it wouldn't open. A minute later, I'm on the ground right beside the ruins. There's nothing I can do for Samka. I find the building better preserved than the rest. There are tracks leading in and out. I go in, and the smell of oil hits me right in the face. There's a trapdoor in the floor. I start to open it. Then I freeze. Footsteps outside. I duck back into the shadows. Hold it right there. Let me get my light on you. Well, if it isn't Haroun.
Mitchell, what are you doing here?
I guess I don't need to ask you the same question, Haroun.
But you do not understand. I was merely...
Save it, Haroun. Open that trap door.
Trap door?
Right there in front of you. I don't think we're going to find down below what will surprise either one of us.
Mitchell, you must listen to me.
Open it.
Very well.
Short flight of stairs and more oil smell. Okay, you go first. And remember, I've got you covered. Hey, pretty large basement for an old ruined building, isn't it?
Yes, it seems to be.
Okay, stay put while I flash my light around. Yeah, there it is.
A small pipeline?
Yeah, a small pipeline underground heading straight west toward the 5-star pipeline. No wonder Dean couldn't spot anything from the air. Well, it was a pretty neat scheme, Haroun.
Mitchell, I swear, even though he is my brother-in-law, I did not dream until now that he...
What are you talking about?
Why, my brother-in-law, Triflis. I realized that you suspected him, and it aroused my suspicions of him. I also found out he owned the warehouse that the expedition had rented. I came here to investigate. I realize now that your suspicions were justified.
Look, as assistant field manager, you could have engineered the whole deal, and Triflis was in a good spot to help you. Now you're trying to pin the whole deal on him.
No. It is not true. You must believe me, Mitchell. I have had nothing to do with it.
Come on, I've seen enough here. I'm going back to town and tell him about this underground pipeline, and you're coming with me.
It won't work, Mitchell.
Mitchell, a flashlight.
Now you're trying to ease out of a tight spot by pretending Haroun is the boy, but it won't work. Now drop the gun, Mitchell.
Williams...
I said drop the gun.
Okay.
Now kick it over towards me. That's the boy.
I kind of figured you'd be hanging around in the shadows here somewhere, Williams. As soon as that parachute failed to open, I knew you were my boy.
So you weren't wearing that chute, Mitchell.
How'd you get up here so fast?
I got a 2-hour head start on a fast launch and waited here for you, just in case anything went wrong with my parachute gag.
You know, I gotta hand it to you, Williams. You had a pretty good scheme cooked up here. You organized a fake expedition to come up to these ruins. They run an underground pipeline over to the main line and tap it, and then you cart the oil away on barges from here.
Yeah. Too bad that checker of mine got himself killed in that fight when I was in Cairo. He's been covering for me.
What's the matter, Williams? Wasn't 5-star paying you enough salary?
Sure, $15,000 a year. But 100,000 barrels of oil is worth $250,000, Mitchell. You figure it out.
Oh, right now I'm trying to figure out what you're going to do with Haroun and me.
I think you'll see the answer to that as soon as I get some stuff I've got upstairs.
What stuff?
Oh, just a couple of little items like rope and dynamite.
Some people are very lucky. They don't have to buy Wheaties. They just pitch a no-hit, no-run ball game or slam the apple out of the park, and they win a whole case of Wheaties. Take Ralph Kiner. He's probably still working on the last of the 54 home run cases he got last season with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ralph figures Wheaties are plenty okay. He told us, "I don't think there's a breakfast dish anywhere that can beat milk, fruit, and Wheaties. Breakfast of champions." From that remark, I just figured that Mr. Kiner wouldn't even mind going out and buying his Wheaties if he had to. And I reckon you won't either. After all, it isn't much of a trip, just down to the grocery.
And now, here is the conclusion of Dangerous Assignment.
Mitchell, what is he going to do?
That's pretty obvious, Haroun. Wait. Hey, that valve in the pipe overhead.
What?
Here, give me a hand with it. We've got to get it open in a hurry.
But I still don't understand.
Help me open it. Williams is going to tie us up here and then blow the whole works up.
It is opening.
Come on, get the valve wide open. There.
But what good will it do to flood this basement with oil? Those fumes.
The fumes and the oil are the only things that can save us, Haroon.
Wait. Maybe we can follow the pipeline underground and escape that way.
No soap. They filled in the tunnel all around that pipe.
Mitchell, the oil is ankle deep already.
Good. Now, where's that cigarette lighter of mine?
Lighter? Wait, Mitchell, wait!
Brother, you could cut these fumes with a knife.
Okay, boys. Get over the beam of my flashlight.
Here we are, William.
Hey, wait a minute. Mitchell, what are you doing?
Just giving the place a little oil bath, Williams.
What have you got in your hand? Drop it.
Oh, no, you drop that gun, Williams, right now.
You crazy, I'll fill you so full of holes.
Oh, no, you won't. This is a cigarette lighter. I'm holding it right next to this stream of oil. All I have to do is make a spark with it. This whole place will go up in flames so quick you'll never make it to that trap door.
Cigarette lighters don't always light, Mitchell.
Sorry, Buster. This is an Evans. It never misses. I'll give you just 3 seconds.
I could kill you before you light it.
Try it. 1.
Talking like a madman.
2.
Wait. No.
Drop the gun.
Okay.
Now, come here. I want to use that rope you're carrying. Tie him up, Haroon.
Look out, Mitchell, a knife.
I'll take that lighter.
Have a fist and step. My. Well, I guess there's one way of rubbing his nose in it. Well, come on, Haroon. Let's get him upstairs.
He is covered with oil.
Yeah. You got him?
Yes.
Up the steps with him.
These fumes, Mitchell, one spark would have turned this place into an inferno.
You're telling me. Well, here we are. Set him down on the floor.
All right.
Now, come on. Let's you and me get some fresh air before we keel over.
That is better. Mitchell, I must say you have nerves of steel.
Yeah? Right now they're creaking a little bit. I could use a cigarette.
Yes, of course. Here, I have one.
Oh, thanks. How about a light?
Oh, but your cigarette lighter.
Oh, that. I keep forgetting to get flints for it. It doesn't work.
What? But I heard you say to Williams that...
Yeah, Williams didn't know I didn't have any flint in it.
Mitchell, you were just bluffing.
Look, when you've got no cards, you've got to bluff. But a bluff is the best poker hand in the world as long as the opposition doesn't call you. And Williams didn't call. Now, how about a match?
Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell, is written by Bob Reif, with music by Basil Adlam, and is produced and directed by Bill Karn. Join us again next Wednesday when Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell embarks on another dangerous assignment.
And this is your Wheaties man, Frank Martin, inviting you to listen next Monday night to Frank Lovejoy in Night Beat on the Wheaties Big Parade. See you then.
Going to bake a pie sometime soon? Make it with Crust Quick, the Betty Crocker pie crust mix. You know it's a tender, flaky crust that's at the bottom of every delicious pie, sure as you used Crust Quick. And so easy.
Just add water to Crust Quick.
And what pie crust. Tender crust, tasty crust, rich, short, lovely crust, just like Betty Crocker makes. And you can make it.
Just add water to Crust Quick.
Crust Quick, the Betty Crocker pie crust mix.
74 years ago, May 17, 1950, Dangerous Assignment. Coming up next, the news from that Wednesday 74 years ago. But first...
Civil defense is common sense. This is Fred McMurray. Home shelters can be built for as little as $100. Simple plans for building inexpensive home shelters are available free from your Civil Defense office. Ask for a copy of the Family Fallout Shelter booklet.
And you can find a lot of that information by going online to civildefensemuseum.com. Civildefensemuseum.com. Our feature day today is Wednesday, May 17th, 1950. In the newspapers of that Wednesday, 74 years ago, these were some of the headlines. A pledge to oppose communism abroad and eliminate it from government agencies at home, the number one promise from an official Republican bid for control of Congress. Senator Taft of Ohio made the GOP promises Tuesday night over a nationwide radio hookup. It was the Republican reply to President Truman's cross-country speaking tour. Taking the offensive, Taft and said Democrat policies have raised the threat of a third world war and at home have pointed the nation toward regimization and socialism, leading to bankruptcy. The nation's railroads almost back to normal today after the short but costly locomotive firemen's strike against 5 big carriers. The 6-day walkout settled yesterday took a sharp wallop at business and labor. The loss in business and wages estimated up to $50 million. Now, a Democrat National Committee chairman said today the committee did not solicit any funds for the party's Jefferson Jubilee in Chicago last weekend. The official, who asked not to be quoted by name, made the statement when asked about a Chicago Daily News story that the liquor industry paid a major share of the expenses of the Jubilee events. He added the money for expenses raised by a Chicago host committee headed by Stevenson Peacock. Czechoslovakia's delegate to the United Nations has quit his job and asked President Truman for refuge in the United States because he says his country is being Russianized. The UN delegate, Vladimir Houtek, 38, broke with his communist-led government yesterday. He lined up with Yugoslav Marshal Tito's brand of communist by attacking Russian pressure on countries trying to develop their own kind of socialism and cabled a message to Russia's Premier Joseph Stalin assailing the Soviet program. Thousands of former Nazis are returning to public office in West Germany. Does this mean Nazism is reviving? A high German official insisted today it doesn't. A high American authority agreed with him. Neither was alarmed by the disclosure Monday that 76% of the 11,000 officials in the government of Wittenberg-Baden state once belonged to the Nazi Party. The German and American officials differed, however, in their explanation of those figures. According to the German minister-president of that district, we cannot find enough able officials to run the government without using these former Nazi members. And I don't agree with that, according to Major General Charles P. Gross, commissioner in the state. He said the rehiring of ex-Nazis, a product of the German bureaucratic system by which the same group of officials continue to administer the laws, no matter who controls the government. Senator Claude Pepper, the Democrat of Florida, defeated in his bid for renomination vacationing in Hot Springs, Arkansas. They came to rest, according to Mrs. Pepper. They didn't care to talk to reporters. The future for rickshaw pullers turned as unpredictable as the tipsy two-wheeled vehicles. According to Tokyo police, they announced a registration program to eliminate all rickshaw men who are capable of turning into burglars. In other news stories of the day, Big Jim Duff, Pennsylvania's red-haired governor, skyrocketed into a position of vital importance in national Republican affairs as the winner in the state's most bitter primary election in decades. Duff, nominated for Senate by a nearly 3-1 margin, he carried to victory his personally endorsed ticket for governor and 4 statewide offices. A bill to bring additional millions of persons into the Social Security system and sharply increase benefits approved by the Senate Finance Committee. Chairman George of Georgia said 11 committee members voted to report the bill to the Senate. 2 members didn't vote. George said they may file statements later objecting to some features of the legislation. California suffering a major earthquake 4,800 miles northwest or southwest from Pasadena, California, that according to California Institute of Technology seismologists. And a heavily loaded truck ran down Pigeon Creek Mountain Tuesday near Williamston, West Virginia. Couldn't make a turn and turned over on top of a car. Well, miraculously, 3 persons in the car and 3 on the truck escaped with nothing more than minor hurts. The truck was carrying a load of stone crosses inscribed, "Jesus is soon coming." Those some of the day's top news stories from the newspapers of Wednesday, May 17th, 1950, when we return with more classic radio theater with Wyatt Cox, we'll close out with an episode of Mr. District Attorney starring Jay Jostyn.
Alert today, alive tomorrow.
Plan now with your family for civil defense emergency action. Someday it may save your lives.
Join, work, and share together with others this knowledge of self-help. Civil defense, an American tradition.
And you can learn about civil defense by going to civildefensemuseum.org. There is lots of good information there that's still relevant today. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, let's go back 74 years to May 17, 1950. Jay Jostyn stars in an episode of Mr. District Attorney and the Case of Deadly Devotion.
Mr. District Attorney, champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And it shall be my duty as District Attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the rights and privileges of all its citizens.
The Case of Deadly Devotion.
You have no idea how these old phonograph records take me back, Mr. St. Charles. Look, here's Dardanella, remember?
You select whatever you want to hear, Mrs. Post. The other club members will enjoy it, I know.
Well, honestly, I don't know when I've enjoyed myself so. Oh, here's the Two Black Crows, my.
You do like it here, then? I mean at the Devotion Club?
Like it? Why, Mr. St. Charles...
Harry, please.
What? Oh, thank you. Do I enjoy it? For I think what you're doing here is simply wonderful.
I hope so. People our age, people in the flush of life, you might say, have a difficult time making new friends.
We don't here, I'll say that.
I'm glad you feel that way. You especially, Laura. The moment you came into my office, Is something wrong?
Oh, I'm sorry, but that man seems to be beckoning to you. There, that one near the door.
Near the door? Oh. Oh, yes, I see.
Do you know him? He doesn't look like one of the members.
What? Will you excuse me, my dear? I'll see what he wants.
Oh, don't worry about me, Harry. I'll pick out the records before the members start arriving.
You don't look glad to see me, Harry.
Nick, my boy,
Well, don't we shake hands, Harry? Back when we were cellmates, I thought we got to be pretty good friends.
Nick, you can't stay here. Look, my boy,
What do you mean, can't? I'd quite a time looking you up, pal. Yeah, you got quite a layout here. What's the gimmick?
Look, I'll give you my address. I have a house.
No kidding.
We can talk later on. Please, Nick.
The Devotion Club, huh? What do? Get a lot of old dames in here and take them?
Don't say that. Really, you must go, Nick.
Go? Come off it, pal. We're buddies, remember? Cooped in the same hatch back in stir.
Yes, I know, my boy, but...
Go! Why, you're flub-struck, Harry. I'm gonna stay.
Oh, I picked that information request out of the file, Chief, the one from St. Louis.
Oh, which one was that, Harrington?
A young punk named Oliver. Nick Oliver.
Oh, I saw that when it came through. He was released from prison out there, wasn't he?
That's right, Miss Miller. And from looking at his record, he's on his way back.
St. Louis thinks he's here in town?
That's the tip they got, Chief. For the bum like him, even when he's released, it pays to keep an eye on him.
Well, what is his record? I didn't read all the report.
Well, little Nick is quite a boy, it seems like. He's got an arrest record as long as your arm.
And there's a charge against him now?
Well, they want to talk to him about a little accident, Chief. It seems the day he got out, a pal of his turned up with a hole in his head.
What?
That's right. Then it turns out the dead guy ratted on Nick in the first place. It was his testimony that sent him up.
And they didn't pick him up?
No, it happened in a little town outside of St. Louis, Chief. By the time the local boys notified the city, Nick was on his way.
And they think he's here.
Yeah, looks that way. I've been doing a little checking up on him this morning.
Oh, any luck?
No, it's a little early, Chief. They're sending us his prison record, personnel report, all that. If he's got some pals in town, chances are he'll look him up.
Well, let's hope so. The St. Louis authorities have helped us a great deal in the past. I'd like to return the favor.
Oh, I'll find him, Chief. Bums like that always go in a pattern.
Oh, how do you mean?
Well, that's one way you find a guy, Miss Miller. You study his habits. Find out what kind of bars he hung around in, what kind of people.
Uh-huh.
Get a line on him. You know, what kind of dames he goes for, whether he likes sports, drives a car, his clothes, anything.
Yes, the personnel report should contain most of that.
Sure, then as soon as we know what kind of a guy he is, we pass the word along to places where he might show up.
And then wait for a tip.
Tips help.
Isn't it strange criminals are so willing to turn each other in?
Well, it really isn't strange, Miss Miller. It's part of the criminal nature. Fear.
That's right. And when he turns a pal in, he feels safer for a little while.
You'd think they'd realize that someday they all get caught.
Yes, they do. That's the basis of the fear. Take this man Harrington's trying to find.
Nick Oliver?
Yes. Wherever he is right now, he's afraid. And why? Because he knows that sooner or later we'll get him.
And we will.
Laura, my dear, I didn't realize you were here in my office.
I thought it better to wait in here, Harry.
I'm delighted. Have you been waiting long? There isn't much here to amuse you, I'm afraid.
It's quite all right. I was reading an article in this week's Collier's.
Oh?
It's most entertaining, about Mr. District Attorney. You know, the radio program.
I'll have to read it. Sit down, my dear.
No, thank you.
You seem so formal, Laura. Is anything wrong?
Yes, Harry, a great deal.
I don't understand. I thought the dance last night was most enjoyable.
Who is that man, Harry?
Man?
I think you're evading me. I mean Mr. Oliver.
Nick? Why, he's an old friend, Laura. I told you that.
He's been here a week, Harry. Have you any idea how much the club has changed in that short time?
Changed? In what way?
Good heavens, are you blind? Do you realize that man encouraged the members to gamble? Yes, and to drink.
Now, Laura.
Oh, you needn't put your arm around me, Harry. I'm disgusted. I wrote my sister about it last night.
Now, Laura, listen to me. Perhaps you're right.
Perhaps. When that nice Mrs. Webster lost $43 playing dice.
As I say, Nick is impetuous. I shouldn't have permitted him to stay.
Oh, he's a very bad young man, in spite of that smile of his. I tell you, Harry, this has changed my opinion of everything.
Including us?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't made up my mind. There's something wrong here, Harry.
Laura, my dear, wait.
No, I'm going home now. I've had my say.
Home before the dance tonight?
I won't be at the dance, Harry. I'm not sure I shall return here at all.
But the money... I mean, you decided to do so much.
I have my doubts about that, too. Goodbye, Harry.
Harry, do you think... Oh, sorry.
It's quite all right, Mr. Oliver. I was just leaving.
Laura, wait.
Thank you, no. Goodbye.
What's eating the old bag?
You fool, you blundering idiotic. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I'm the fool, not you.
What's the trouble, pal? She looked pretty steamed up.
I was crazy to let you stay crazy.
I'll wait back on that again. I told you, Harry, you ain't got much choice.
I was getting along so well.
Yeah, well, now you're doing even better. And you can stop yakking about getting rid of me, Harry. Or do I tell these old crows where you and me met?
Dice tables, liquor in the punch, shakedowns. In heaven's name, Nick, what are you trying to pull?
Oh, I need plenty, pal. This is as good as any joint to get it from.
But I don't operate that way. I told you I play it slow.
Well, that's too bad. I play it fast. What was her name?
What?
The dame in the uproar just now.
It was Mrs. Post. Laura Post.
Yeah, well, she can take the... Wait a minute. Is that the one?
The one what?
The dame you were building up for the big one. Sure it was. I remember the name.
She has $20,000 in convertible bonds.
She's got what?
I've worked on her for 3 months personally, and now it's all for nothing.
She was going to kick in 20 grand?
She was, even if I had to marry her.
Where'd she go, huh?
I imagine so. She's washed up, though. You and your quick schemes scared her off.
Where does she live, Harry? Never mind, and get it from my membership.
You stay away from her. You think you could change her mind, you?
Change it?
You're why she pulled out. It's a wash-up, I tell you.
You know, you con boys give me a pain. $20 grand and you quit like a spoiled kid.
I know when a score is cold, Nick.
Yeah, well, I know when it's hot. 20 G's, Harry, my boy. That's plenty hot.
Now, where are you going?
Calling.
What?
You heard me. I'm calling on Mrs. Post.
Oh, come in, Harrington.
Yeah. I didn't want to bust in, Chief.
That's quite all right.
I just thought I'd bring you up to date on Nick Oliver.
Oh, the one they want in St. Louis?
That's my boy. Oh, I got a pile of dope on him. Brother, he's something.
Yes?
Yeah, he started out when he was 13 years old. He stuck up a gas station, and when the attendant was slow with the money, little Nick hit him with a hammer.
No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's only the beginning, Miss Miller. The bum's record runs 6 full pages.
Any idea where he is now?
No, not yet, Chief, but I got a good lead.
Yes, what is it?
Well, a punk that looks like him hit town about a week ago. Come in by bus from over the state line.
Do you think it's Nick?
Well, maybe, but I know this, Miss Miller. When a rip and tear man like that arrives, a lot of guys know about it, and fast.
Yes, remarkably fast, usually.
That's the grapevine, Chief. And today they're saying there's a baby-faced guy like Nick in town.
Just a minute, I'm coming. Yes, just a moment. I'll turn on the porch light.
No need for that. I could see okay.
Now, see here. Just what do... Oh, it's you.
I got to talk to you, Mrs. Post. It's about something that happened at the club.
The devotion club?
Uh-huh.
I don't want to hear about it.
Let's sit down. How about in here?
Now, see here. I've said I don't want to discuss anything. Why, I was getting ready for bed.
Now, this is important, Mrs. Post. It's for your own good.
For my own good? Whatever do you mean?
You and Harry?
I beg your pardon?
I told you it was important. Go on. Sit right down and relax.
Come to the point, please.
That's fair enough. Harry tells me you've got $20,000 laying around.
What do you want, Mr. Oliver, isn't it?
Nick's enough. And I want to tip you off, Mrs. Post. It's just a friendly gesture.
I think perhaps you'd better leave.
I'm playing straight with you. You take the dough and put it in a big, strong bank. You understand?
I'm sorry. I think all this is, well, to say the least, Mr. Oliver, none of your concern.
You're sure hard to convince. Look, will you promise me one thing?
Hardly.
Yeah, well, first thing in the morning, take the dough and put it in a bank.
I never heard of anything like this in my life.
Is that too much to ask? Put it in a bank?
Very well. Suppose I promise you. Now will you go?
Be more definite. You'll put it in tomorrow?
Yes. Now will you please leave my house?
That's funny. And Harry said I wasn't smooth. That's a laugh.
Well, what do you mean?
Kid, you just told me the one thing I wanted to know.
What?
I had to be sure that dough's here, didn't I? I'll get it up.
Get it up?
Come on. Let's not waste time. Where do you keep it?
You get out of here.
Well, you listen to reason. I'm a busy man, baby. Get the dough.
I don't believe it. I just don't.
Look, I got no time to fool around. If I have to, I'll kick this joint upside down.
But...
Yeah, I may have to take a few belts at you. Now get smart, will you? Just hand it over, nice and easy.
I'll do nothing of the kind.
Don't look so greedy at the phone, kid. You reach for that and I'll break your little arm.
But do you realize what you're doing, do you?
Yeah, I do. But you don't. I'm getting sore, sister, and that ain't good, you know.
I haven't got the money here.
You lie in your teeth. You just said so. Now get it up fast.
Mr. Oliver, listen.
Never mind the routine. I got one of my own.
You what?
How many rooms in this dump? 8? 9? I can go through them in an hour.
You wouldn't dare.
If I have to look for the scratch, that is. And you know something, baby? I just can't do a good job with you around bothering me.
I don't understand.
Oh, it's simple. Either you hand over the dough like a good kid, or I'll kill you.
Kill me, you?
I'd have to, if I have to search for it, at least. You see?
You've got a gun.
Oh, that's the flash of the week. Okay. Make up your mind.
Oh, please.
Where's the dough?
I don't know.
Oh, I'll be...
You shot me. please.
Oh, you sure make it tough on yourself, sister. Yeah, and on me, too. Now I gotta tear this joint apart.
Oh, boy, there's enough reporters out in that yard to cover a World Series.
Well, I don't wonder, Harrington. Mrs. Post is very prominent in this city.
Yes, we're about ready to add up, Harrington.
Yeah?
Has Dr. Colgan finished?
Yes, just about, Chief. He fixes the time of death is between 9 and 11 last night.
That's right. Shot once at about 2 feet away.
What about the doors and windows? Did Brophy check?
Just finished, Chief. Every one of them closed and locked from the inside.
Let's see. How about inventory, Miss Miller?
Well, I've been trying to get somewhere on that. Her nearest relative is a sister, but she lives in Chicago.
Yes, well, perhaps one of the neighbors can estimate what's missing for us.
You know, Chief, there's one thing I don't like about this.
Yes, what's that?
Well, when the grocery kid discovered something was wrong this morning and called the patrolman,
Yes.
it looked like a nice, neat case of robbery.
And?
I mean, everything's just like we've seen it many times before. The house all ransacked and the dame dead.
Yes, that's the impression, at least. She probably resisted, and the burglar got panicky and shot.
Except for one thing.
What's that?
Well, just look around, Miss Miller. There's her purse with $10 still in it. There's a gold lighter on the table. Upstairs, there's a hunk of jewelry on her dresser.
Yes, I saw that, too. Say, take a look at that purse, Miss Miller.
All right.
This was a burglary. The guy sure passed up a lot of nice items.
Yes, it is strange. Still, if he were frightened after he shot, he might have run out.
Say, Chief.
Yes?
Here's something odd.
In her purse?
Yes, Mrs. Post belonged to the Devotion Club Limited, whatever that is. Here's her membership card.
The Devotion Club?
Uh-huh.
Are you kidding?
Why? Do you know anything about it, Harrington?
Well, sure I do. Well, maybe not that particular outfit, but I've heard that name.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those agencies that helps people meet other people.
Really?
Yeah, most of them are on the up and up, but sometimes they're not.
Yes, it's strange that a woman like Mrs. Post should belong to one. Put the card in your pocket, Harrington.
Right.
We may have to check that club.
I can drop around and ask a few questions.
Yes, do that. No need to arouse suspicion, however. Put a little gray on your temples, and you can drop around as a prospective member.
It's a cinch, Chief.
Well, let's hope the whole case is a cinch. Now, if you'll call Dr. Colgan, Miss Miller, we'll get to work.
I hope I've made everything clear, Mr. Harrison, was it?
Yeah, that's right, Mr. St. Charles.
You see, we don't take just anyone into our membership here. Only those we know to be sincere.
Oh, I'm sincere, all right. I've been wanting to meet people for a long time.
I see. You dance, do you?
No, just a little. Back home, I never had much time for it.
And that was where, did you say?
Oh, I had a cattle ranch out west.
Did you indeed?
Yeah, I had 7,000 head at one time. Then when I made my pile, well, I just quit.
Well, that was sensible, Mr. Harrison. We all work too hard in this life, wear ourselves out.
You can say that again. From now on, Mr. St. Charles, I'm just going to spend my money and enjoy myself.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, well, could I get into your little club here, do you think?
Well, ordinarily, Mr. Harrison, I interview a candidate a number of times before we accept him.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Then, as I explained, we make every effort to see that you meet people of your own age and interests.
Suits me.
And you know, sir, you suit us.
I do.
You do. We'll dispense with the interviews, Mr. Harrison. You can meet the members tonight.
I've listed everything the neighbors mentioned, Chief.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know not one thing's been taken from this house?
Well, it's difficult to understand, Miss Miller. Unless, of course, Mrs. Post kept a great deal of money someplace here on the premises.
Yes.
The neighbors would hardly know if it were missing or not.
Well, her sister might. I've got Dorothy back at the office trying to get through to her in Chicago.
Yes, that'll help. And perhaps Harrington will have some luck, too. Is he still out?
I guess so. He hasn't called back.
Mm-hmm.
He was going over to that club to see what he could find.
That's the door.
Yes, it's the mailman, I think. Do you want me to see?
Yes, will you?
Okay. Oh, thank you. I was right, Chief. Here's a magazine and one letter.
Oh?
It's postmarked, let's see, Chicago. It's a woman's handwriting, too, Chief, probably from her sister.
Here, may I look at it?
Of course.
Well, I think I'll open it, Miss Miller. Under the circumstances, I can take the responsibility.
Oh, sure, Chief. Anything to help. I'll keep going on this inventory.
Right. Well, I'll be... Say, Miss Miller.
Yes?
This letter is remarkable. It may be just what we need.
Well, Chief, the guy's a phony from away back. I could smell it all over him.
This Mr. St. Charles, you mean?
Yeah, Miss Miller. Slick as a whistle. Even if he's got nothing to do with Mrs. Post. We better break up that joint of his on general principles.
Yes, we have more reason than that to break it up, Harrington.
Yeah?
Miss Miller and I had quite a day, too.
Oh, anything look good?
Oh, yes, plenty. You're attending this dance at the club tonight, you said?
That's right. Starts at 9.
Well, all right, you be there then. And if you can, get St. Charles into his office. And here's what we're going to do.
I'm sorry, I'm busy. Nick, I thought I told you to stay away from here.
Can an old pal drop in to say goodbye, Harry?
I don't want anything to do with you.
You know, you conboys operate funny.
We don't get mixed up in a murder.
Oh, you heard about that, huh?
I read the papers.
It's funny, I was even thinking of giving you part of the stash. You know, just for old time's sake.
You mean you got the money? All of it?
I'm leaving, ain't I? That's the answer to that.
But the paper said nothing was taken.
You read too much, Harry, just like back in the cell block.
I had no idea. Why, sit down, Nick. No need to rush.
Oh, you kill me, you know. Now you're interested all of a sudden.
No, I'm not, Nick. I give you my word.
No kidding.
Look, I took in a new member today. He's loaded, Nick. Big cattleman from out west.
Take him, why don't you?
I intend to. Only you can help me, my boy. Think of it. We'll take him together.
You'll take the old dame's dough, you mean? No, thanks, Harry. I'm shoving off.
Hey, you mind if I come in, Mr. St. Charles?
What? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison. I'm busy just now. If you'll... Mr. Harrison...
This won't take long. Come right in, Laura.
I told you I'm very busy.
You.
Good Lord.
Hello, Harry.
Love it. For the love of...
Well, what's the matter? You fellas look like you've seen a ghost.
I think they're surprised to see me.
You don't say.
What? Hey, I gotta get out of here.
No. Stick around, Sonny. You interest me. You know, I could swear I've seen your face before. Like on the St. Louis police posters.
Hey, well, what's going on here?
Don't you remember? You came to my house last night.
No, I didn't.
Laura, I can't believe it. The paper said you were dead.
Perhaps. Do you think so, Nick? Look at me.
No, don't come near me. Please don't.
Nick, listen to me.
She's dead, I tell you.
Really, Nick? Look again. Closer.
No, I tell you, no. Harry, don't let her come near me.
Mr. Harrison, please take her out of here.
Do you remember now, Nick, last night?
You're dead, I tell you. I was there. I saw you die.
That's what I'm waiting to hear, pal. All right, back up, both of you. This is a very touchy gun.
Mr. Harrison.
The name is Harrington, pal. Just stand still. Okay, Chief. Better stand back, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington. I do feel a little faint.
Are we all set in here, Harrington?
Perfect, Chief. Nick just spilled the whole story.
Nick?
Yeah, and a little added touch, Chief. This is our St. Louis boy.
Oh.
Looks kind of pale right now.
Oh, Chief, the members are all waiting downstairs.
Yes, we'll go down and explain things to them in just a moment, Miss Miller.
Right.
Are you all right, Mrs. Rogers?
Yes, thank you.
Mrs. Rogers? What do you mean?
Hey, look, I don't get it.
We were very fortunate, gentlemen. I think you knew Mrs. Post had a sister in Chicago.
Sure, she said...
Well, this is Mrs. Post's sister. What you didn't know, however, is that she happens to be a twin, an identical twin.
Mr. District Attorney comes to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
And that Armed Forces recording of Mr. District Attorney from 74 years ago, May 17th, 1950. Tomorrow on the program, we'll center around, the bulk of the show will be centered around a Sunday, May 18th, 1958, with episodes of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, Suspense, 0 Hour, starring Evelyn Rudy. We will have Advice to the Lovelorn from J.D. Kendall, The Frontier Gentleman, that stars John Daner, and Sam Buffington as Luke Slaughter of Tombstone. And, of course, we'll cap it all off with another episode of Claudia. Right now, a full hour-long episode of Screen Directors Playhouse, starring Dick Powell, is next.
Listen and learn through civil defense. This is Johnny Cash. I'd like all of you to remember that America can withstand enemy attack if we support the emergency plans of our community and learn to help ourselves. Make sure you're prepared. Contact your local civil defense office today.
It's not just the Boy Scouts that know to be prepared. You know that, don't you? All righty, be prepared for anything. Now, an episode of the Screen Directors Playhouse from 73 years ago, May 17th, 1951. Dick Powell reprising his leading role from the 1948 motion picture, Rogue's Regiment.
Screen Directors Playhouse stars Dick Powell, Peggy Dow, and Alex Nico. Production, Rogue's Regiment. Director, Robert Flory.
This is the Screen Directors Playhouse, one of the weekly features on NBC's All-Star Festival of Comedy, Music, Mystery, and Drama. Brought to you by RCA Victor, world leader in radio, first in recorded music, first in television. By Canon Towels, famous for color, for design, for durability. Among towels, America's #1 bestseller. And by the makers of Anacin, for the fast relief from the pain of headache, neuritis, and neuralgia. Tonight, the Screen Directors Playhouse is pleased to present transcribed for the first time on the air an exciting story of adventure and intrigue. Our adaptation is the screenplay Rogue's Regiment, and our stars Dick Powell and Peggy Dow with Alex Nico. Before we begin the first act of tonight's Screen Directors Playhouse production, here's Dick Powell.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's presentation, Rogue's Regiment, deals with the apprehension of one of the world's most despicable killers. Not a fictional character, but one of true life. The Nazi whom we shall call Martin Brunner, the Butcher of Dachau. We leave to your imagination who this character really is. Now, before we begin, here's Jimmy Wallington.
Thank you, Dick. And here's a very important word from RCA Victor. That word is Fairfield. And RCA Victor's superb new Fairfield is the last word in console television. It's better looking in every way. Better looking television. RCA Victor television that has been quality proven in over 2 million homes. It's 17-inch television with clear, bright pictures. Steady pictures that are locked in place by RCA Victor's exclusive eyewitness picture synchronizer. Better looking cabinet, too. For in the Fairfield, RCA Victor stylists have captured all the charm and dignity of the classic design. Every line, every detail of this fine furniture piece exhibits the craftsmanship for which RCA Victor is famous. And its beautifully figured doors can play such an important part when the set is not in use. Yes, the Fairfield is better looking in every way. So next chance you get, step into your RCA Victor dealers. See and hear the exciting new Fairfield. You, too, will discover that the RCA Victor Fairfield is better looking in every way. Now, the first act of the Screen Directors Playhouse presentation of Rogue's Regiment, starring Dick Powell in his original role of Major Corbett, Peggy Dow as Lily, with Alex Nicol as Van Ratten.
January 1949, to Commanding General, Army of Occupation, from Major Whitfield Corbett, United States Military Intelligence, Headquarters, Frankfurt, Germany. To make this report comprehensible, it is essential to refer to the circumstances which caused the following investigation to be made. It began in Berlin, inside the ruins of a small garden. Two men wearing the uniforms of the SS Elite Guard, now identified as Colonel Martin Brunner and Lieutenant Heindorf, stood staring down at the ground where two human figures lay side by side, wrapped completely in gasoline-soaked army blankets. Then a lighted match was thrown into the pile. Instantly, a tremendous sheet of flame burst up from the funeral pile. And so it was, on April 30th, 1945, that man's greatest insanity upon this earth, Adolf Hitler, was destroyed, together with the woman, Eva Braun. A few months later, the trials began at Nuremberg. One by one, the Nazi war leaders faced the cold, factual testimony of their crimes and heard their sentences read.
Hermann Goering, to be hanged. Joachim von Ribbentrop, to be hanged. Rudolf Hess, life in prison. Julius Streicher, to be hanged. Alfred Jodl, to be hanged. Karl Denitz, to be hanged. Alfred Rosenberg, to be hanged. Ernst Kaltenbrunner, to be hanged.
Three years later, only one important name remained unchecked on that infamous list. The only top-ranking Nazi still alive who had not been found. Martin Brunner.
Have a seat, Major.
Thank you, sir.
Ever see a picture of Martin Brunner?
No, sir. My information is that the German High Command issued strict orders in 1935 that he was never to be photographed, and for excellent reasons. Next to Hitler and Himmler, he was the most powerful man in Germany.
Correct. Here's a picture of him in a group shot with other officers of the SS Elite Guard. Unfortunately, it only shows the back of his head. Pretty rough, isn't it, Major?
Well, it's not a party. We have only two vague pieces of evidence to work with. A cigarette case, which was identified as a gift to Martin Brunner, picked up in Athens, and a pair of cufflinks found in Karachi, India, last October. That's about it.
Not quite. This star sapphire, Brunner's, was found by a French agent at Harbin, North China, last week.
North China? Indochina?
Yes.
Well, if we knew who disposed of all these things, then at least a pattern of his movements would take form.
Yes. Somewhere in Asia, for whatever good that does us, he's Martin Brunner. Perhaps. If only we knew where and what he looks like. Major, prepare to leave for North China. Good luck.
Twin lines of steel gleamed dully in the darkness as the Natron-Saigon Express roared through a jungle of swampland. Inside the train, the compartments were loaded with ex-Nazis who had become soldiers of fortune and had joined the French Foreign Legion. In my compartment were Mark Van Ratten, a handsome and prepossessing man of about 45, Colonel Le Mercier of the French Foreign Legion, and a very quiet and ordinary-looking German who hadn't uttered a word since I came into the compartment.
are at war here, yes, Maratin. The Vietnamese wish to throw us out and to establish an independent nation. So they say, and so they honestly believe possible. But who gave them the idea? Who supplies them with guns and ammunition? Who gives the order to their leader, Trente de Guillaume?
You have been reading your own propaganda, my dear Colonel. The people of Indochina are fighting only because they are tired of French injustice and misrule.
Nonsense, nonsense. If the Vietnamese were not agitated by their false friends, we could soon settle our little differences. Believe me, Maratin, I know these natives better than you. You are an art dealer, a businessman, but colonization is also an art.
Yes, an art that teaches the colonized how to get rid of the colonizer.
Jamais, jamais, we are here to stay.
How long can you afford to stay? With over 600 of your legionnaires killed or wounded each month. Is it really worth the price, Colonel?
What is a man's life worth? 3 times now the Vietnamese have tried to assassinate me because I am a symbol of the French they hate. No, Maratin. There are but 2 marching songs in the world today. The Internationale, which may be theirs, and La Marseillaise, which will always be ours. Now, pardonnez-moi, gentlemen, I leave the compartment. I will return in a moment.
You, sir.
Me?
Yes, I agree with you. There's no one quite as stupid as the professional soldier.
No, I don't remember saying it, but you could be right.
You came aboard the train at Nha Trang, as I recall.
That's right. You must have eyes in the back of your head.
Rather interesting town, don't you think?
No, it stank.
Are you traveling on business or perhaps for pleasure?
I haven't decided.
Surely it can't be your health in this tiresome climate.
I hadn't noticed it until now.
Oh, it's not too bad if you can afford a good modern hotel, Mr. I didn't catch your name.
Well, it's Corbett. Whit Corbett. I've got exactly 180 piastres in my pocket, a birthmark on my left leg, and I'm on my way to Saigon to enlist in the Foreign Legion. Now, is there anything else you'd like to know about me?
I beg your pardon. I was only trying to be sociable.
If you please, sir. Now, what's on your mind?
So you are going into the Legion. Then we shall be comrades. How do you say? Comrades. My name is Reicher. Karl Reicher.
How are you?
We had officers like that colonel in the German army also. Perhaps that is why we lost the war.
Who finally did win? I haven't seen a newspaper recently.
This is a very strange thing to me. Why so many thousands of ex-soldiers, all of you bitter and disillusioned, should come to Indochina to fight for France.
For me, it was a simple decision. The Legion cannot be worse than the Germany I left. The cold and hunger, the black despair, the terrible fear of Russia. No, I was only a simple private. Ein Dummkopf. But I would rather be a soldier again than a dead citizen of a dead country. And you, Mr. Corbett?
Me? Oh, I've got a much better reason than that. I've never been home since the war ended. What's more, I never expect to go back.
How odd. An American not to relish home. Of course, it has become quite a joke among us Saigonese about how many former German soldiers enlist in the Foreign Legion. We call it the Sixth Reich, and the French themselves call it Rogues Regiment. I'm afraid they're not very happy about it.
Why should they care who the Vietnamese killed, if it isn't a Frenchman?
They don't care particularly. It's the live ones who worry them the most. The Germans who might have had criminal war records, Gestapo agents, and SS elite guards.
Have they found any of those in the Legion?
Quite a few. The SS men were betrayed immediately by the tattoo marks on their left arms.
Oh? What happened to them?
They were sent back to Europe for trial, and afterwards hung. These men were very unfortunate and not very smart.
And you are?
Smart enough to get into the Legion if I was an SS man.
How would you accomplish it?
There is a man in Saigon, A. Hazard, a very clever Arab, who can remove any tattoo mark without leaving a trace. Interested?
Oh, no, sir.
At this point, I left the compartment and walked down the corridor of the train. I didn't walk too far when I saw a French officer's cap at my feet. As I bent to pick it up, on eye level was the body of Colonel Le Mercier. He was dead.
You know, Riker, ever since you came onto the train, I've had a definite feeling we have met before.
I don't think so.
I could have sworn it. Somewhere in Europe, years ago, but I cannot recall the time or place.
Monsieur Corbett.
Coming, Chief.
You found the body, did you not, sir?
Yes, sir.
This Malay Chris was beside the body of Colonel Lemercier?
That's right.
You saw no one who aroused your suspicion?
Oh, sure I did. Dozens of them. Half the mob on that filthy train looked like cutthroats to me.
If you please.
Okay, Chief, sorry. How can I go?
What is your address for the next 3 days?
The Foreign Legion for the next 5 years.
Oh? Monsieur Corbett, this is Colonel Mauclair, the commandant of the Legion.
How do you do? Oh, excuse me, Colonel. I thought you were one of the police.
There is no doubt why Lemercier was murdered. Because he was close on the trail of whoever is smuggling guns into Indochina. But we will never know who did it.
We never do. This open tool chest, who owns it?
Reicher, the German. Reicher!
Yes, sir?
Why did you bring a tool chest along with you when there's no need for one in the Legion?
I am a mechanic by trade, and with these tools I have earned my passage from Europe, working wherever I could.
I assure you, gentlemen, this man could not possibly have done the killing, because he never left the compartment.
Everyone in Saigon is your friend, my dear fellow. Reicher, Monsieur Van Ratten's word is good enough.
Thank you, Herr Van Ratten.
And you needn't worry about your tool chest. I'll store it for you in my home.
I left the chief of police and the commandant of the Foreign Legion, Colonel Mauclair. But for the whole of the next day, a thought kept revolving in my mind. Van Ratten's voice repeating.
There's a man in Saigon, a very clever Arab, who can remove any tattoo without leaving a trace. There's a man...
Without leaving a trace. It suddenly dawned on me. If the Arab had come in contact with members of the SS elite guard, surely he could identify them. That way, I could narrow the list of suspects. So I visited a Hazarat in his tattoo shop.
Tattoo?
Yes, removed. Can you do it?
For 1,000 piastres is possible.
Any special rate for a small one?
1,000 piastres.
But it's only 2 letters. SS.
SS?
Van Ratten sent me.
Oh, he my good friend.
Yes, so he told me. He also told me how many you've done for him. I bet you can remember every one of them.
Hazarat, no fool. A very discreet man. Never talk.
Even for 50,000 piastres?
50,000?
Here, cash.
Hazarat, remember.
How far back can you remember?
Hazarat, never forget.
A. Hazarat was the one man who could have possibly led me to Martin Brunner. But the bullet through the window stilled the Arab's mouth forever.
Here's news. Big news about big special values. Just listen. Listen.
Listen closely.
Don't miss this. It's important. Canon, the world's most popular towels, are waiting for you now, right now, in big, value-packed, money-saving Canon towel sales.
You'll need more towels with summer on the way. Here's a real opportunity to stock up at prices that will save you money.
There are big, beautiful buys in Canon towels of every size and type.
And a wide choice of lovely colors and designs.
Canons give you the most for your money in every way.
In real value.
In lovely color.
And in beautiful design.
Canon towels absorb more, wear longer, stay lovely longer.
Canons are big, fluffy, thirsty towels.
No wonder more people buy Canon towels than all other towels combined. Be sure you get the most for your money. Get Canons. See your newspaper for these special Canon towel sales. Get to your store now and get in on the big, big, big Canon values.
Take a quick break here, and we'll get back to the Screen Directors Playhouse. 73 years ago, May 17, 1951, Rogue's Regiment, starring Dick Powell, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Pat Boone. In case of enemy attack, you must know your warning signals. A steady blast of 3 to 5 minutes means tune your radio dial to 640 or 1240. A 3-minute wavering tone or a series of short blasts, take cover immediately.
And we continue now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with more of the Screen Directors Playhouse adaptation of the 1948 motion picture Rogue's Regiment, starring from the motion picture Dick Powell.
Now, here is the second act of the Screen Directors Playhouse presentation of Rogue's Regiment, starring Dick Powell and Peggy Dow, with Alex Nico.
Ich hab einen Kameraden, einen besseren findest du nicht. Die Trommel schlug zum Streite, ging an meiner Seite, im gleichen Schritt und Tritt.
The Café La Petite Continoise in Saigon was anything but petite. The dining room was dimly lit and smoke-filled with a bar near the entrance where I stood. I found watching the noisy and belligerent German soldiers spread all over the room, dressed in French uniforms and singing of the fatherland, both an extraordinary and intriguing spectacle. At this point, a sergeant of the Legion, naturally a German, walked by and was stopped by O'Hara, an American.
Hiya, Sarge. Hey, Stein, what's the hurry?
I'm in no hurry, O'Hara.
Well, draw up a Stein, grab yourself some Sakura.
Danke, Kamerad.
Want you to meet a couple of new kameraden as of tomorrow. This is Riker, countryman of yours.
Riker?
Sergeant Stein.
And this is Whit Corbett, an American from the States.
Glad to know you, Sergeant. Well, let's drink up. That's what we're here for. This one's on me.
Well, yes, but you'll have to pardon me.
What's the matter with you, Stein? You drunk or sick or what?
What do you mean, O'Hara?
You're going to walk out on a free drink?
Get out of my way, you stupid fool.
What? Well, what's eating on that crowd?
Could be a kraut. There was something vaguely familiar about Sergeant Stein. I'd seen his face before, but where? I didn't get too much time to think because a gorgeous doll, the French kind, the singer from the cafe, was coming directly towards me, and she was looking at me with more than casual friendliness. And I liked that kind of look. Drink, mademoiselle?
Later, monsieur.
Do you ever try singing in English?
You've never been here before?
No. What's your name?
Lily. Lily Maubert. I will see you later, no?
Yes.
Au revoir.
Just a tip, Corbett. Don't make a pass at the singer. It will only get you in a jam.
Thanks, Cobb. Maybe that's the kind of jam I like. I met Lily late that night in her apartment. It was one of those lush, seductive, low-lit affairs. Pictures of German soldiers were all over the walls. But at the moment, I wasn't too interested in pictures. Then Lily entered, carrying 2 drinks, and sat down beside me on the divan.
Do you know why you are here, monsieur?
Well, I could guess, but I'd rather you tell me.
You are here because it is essential that we meet.
Oh, well, home was never like this. Drink up, sweet.
Thank you.
Sit a little closer, won't you?
If you please, stay where you are.
But you just said it was essential that we meet. Come on now, let's not play hide and seek.
Monsieur Corbett, you are an agent of the American intelligence, are you not?
What?
I recognized you the moment I saw you in the cafe.
Oh, hold on, sister. You've got me all wrong.
Oh, no. Colonel Mauclair of the French Foreign Legion described you to me.
Oh. Well, all they told me in Frankfurt was to wait for a pickup by a French agent. But I wasn't expecting anybody like you.
Did you think I would wear a sign?
You don't need a sign.
Mauclair said if there's anything you wanted to know tonight, ask me.
Anything?
Yes.
Are you married?
He meant about tomorrow, when you enlist.
Oh. Well, no. I've been fully briefed on that.
It will not be easy for you in the Legion.
I didn't think it would be. Or trying to find one German among thousands when none of us even knows what the guy looks like. Tell me, who do I clear my reports through, Mauclair or you?
Either one of us. But I am working on something else at the moment.
Oh? What's more important than finding Martin Brunner?
There are things.
Okay. It's none of my business. Skip it.
Thank you, I will.
Did anyone ever tell you you're beautiful?
Everyone, monsieur. Anything else?
Okay. Do you have any instructions that we're not to be seen together from now on?
No, if you have something important to tell me.
I'll find something. We could even talk shop. I'd like to learn how your French work.
I can imagine.
You know, you're much too smart for a beautiful girl. Don't you have any fun at all?
Perhaps. In a quiet way.
I can be very quiet.
Good. Here's your hat. Don't make any noise on your way out.
Sorry. I just hadn't met anybody like you in a long time.
Neither have I.
You win. I'll be going.
Oh, go into the other room.
Sure.
Lily?
Marc Van Raton.
I waited for you at the cafe, but they told me you left early with no message, so I became worried. Is there anything wrong?
No, I didn't feel well all evening, so I came home and went to bed.
In those clothes?
It was sweet of you to come by, but you'll excuse me for not asking you in.
Of course. I shall telephone you in the morning. If you feel better, perhaps we can have lunch together.
Yes, do call me. Good night, Mark, and thank you again.
Good night, my dear.
Ah, nice fellow, isn't he?
Very.
I seem to have messed up your evening. You should have told me.
I wasn't expecting anyone.
Oh, sure. I used to have a friend that dropped in at 3 a.m. Gets to be a habit with some people. You know, I met Van Ratten on the train, and he asked too many questions. What does he do besides being an art dealer?
That's my affair.
Oh, yeah, so I gather. Good night. Thanks for the drink.
Quel fou, il est stupide.
The following day, I was inducted into the French Foreign Legion along with Riker and about 50 more recruits. I was put through my paces by Sergeant Stein, the face I was trying to place. Then I made contact with Colonel Mauclair and wound up spending every spare minute of my days and nights going through the dossier militaire files. Thousands of pictures.
Major Corbett.
Oh, Colonel Mauclair, I found what I've been looking for. Here, take a look at this photograph.
Uh-huh. Himmler, Hitler, Goering, S. And I do not know this one.
Use this magnifying glass.
Oh, impossible. This German lieutenant of the SS Elite Guard is Sergeant Stein.
His correct name is Heindorf. You will note, sir, look at the picture again. The officer with only the back of his head showing, that is Martin Brunner. And since we do not know what Brunner looks like, and we're sure Heindorf does...
I will put him under arrest at once.
No, that wouldn't help, Colonel. He wouldn't talk even if he knew anything. Let me handle this my way. Hey, the mail's here. Come and get it. Here's one for you, O'Hara.
Thanks a lot.
Cobb.
Thanks, Corbett. Who'd write me a letter?
Dahlstrom. Engelbach. Schlitz. Sturm.
Hey, what do you think of this? A bill 2 years old from a butcher in Hackensack, New Jersey. For pig's knuckles.
Sergeant Stein. Letter for Sergeant Stein.
A letter for me?
That's what it says on the envelope. Sergeant Stein. Demi-Brigade, La Citadelle, Saigon. Why don't you open it, Sergeant? Letter from home, Sergeant Stein?
No. Yes. No.
The letter to Sergeant Stein, or Heindorf, was postmarked Saigon and was sent to him by yours truly, Wood Corbett. Inside was the copy of the photograph I had shown Colonel Mauclair. I had circled the face of Heindorf with a thick pencil line and also the back of Brunner's head. In his bunk, Stein sat transfixed, staring at the marked photograph. Then he looked at the envelope and saw the postmark, Saigon, and he realized that whoever sent it was here. He looked up and our eyes met. And I knew at that moment I was a marked man, that I wasn't long for this world. But I counted on his fear. Fear that might lead me to my objective, Martin Brunner.
But why would Heindorf be afraid of Brunner? They were close friends in Germany for years.
Lily, Brunner didn't have any friends. He was a killer. The official executioner of Rym, Dollfuss, Starnberg, Rommel. How many others we'll never know. They were all afraid of him. And that's what I'm still counting on.
But you don't even know that Brunner is in Saigon.
No, but if he is here, Heindorf will tell him about the picture. We watched Heindorf, and so far he hasn't left the Citadel or made a telephone call. That's why I think Brunner's in the Legion.
What does Colonel Mauclair think?
Oh, the same thing you do. That I'm fishing for whales with a bent pin. But he'll help me with a bait.
I wish I could help you, too.
You're doing it now, dear. Just letting me look at you. It hit me the first time I saw you in the cafe. And later that night I knew it for sure. And then Mauclair told me about you, what you did during the war and what you're doing here. So I know you had courage, too.
Mauclair told you of Van Natten?
Yes. That you're luring him into giving himself away as the gun runner who is aiding the Vietnamese in their war against France. I've been worrying about you, Lily. That's always the last stage. Oh, I've got it bad, Lily.
Are you making love to me?
I was trying to. Why? Does it amuse you?
No, it doesn't. I think I like it very much. If you mean it.
I mean it.
Oh.
Does that convince you?
A little. Convince me again.
Oh, that takes time. We haven't got much of it.
We may have. Someday.
I hope so. If Heindorf or Brunner doesn't get me first.
When we ask you to try Anacin for the relief of pain due to a headache, neuritis, or neuralgia, we're not asking you to try a new or unproved method, for there are many people listening in now who have been introduced to Anacin tablets by their own dentist or physician. You who have received Anacin this way know the effective, incredibly fast relief these tablets bring. Anacin is like a doctor's prescription. That is, Anacin contains not just one, but a combination of medically proven active ingredients in easy-to-take tablet form. People by the thousands are using modern Anacin today instead of other ways. Doesn't their experience seem worth following? Try Anacin the next time you suffer pains from headache, neuritis, or neuralgia. You will be delighted with the result. Ask your druggist for Anacin today. Anacin is spelled Anacin.
They didn't have to do a lot of shrinking or compressing in this episode. The motion picture itself, when it premiered on September 28, 1948, only ran 86 minutes, so they maybe had to cut out 20, 30 minutes of material. That's actually pretty good for a radio adaptation. 73 years ago, Screen Directors Playhouse, May 17, 1951, Rogues Regiment, starring Dick Powell, continues in a moment.
Alert Americans will heed history's lessons. Throughout history, surprise has had a leading role in military disasters. Today, an enemy capable of surprise air attack could leave chaos in his wake. That's why you should be in the Civilian Ground Observer Corps, volunteering a few hours a week to guard our skies. Be a ground observer. Contact your local civilian defense office.
Before radar got really good and satellites were all around, civilian defense watchers, civil defense watchers were really essential. The ground observers were. Alrighty, and civildefensemuseum.org for more information. Let's get back to this episode of the Screen Directors Playhouse 73 years ago, May 17th, 1951. Jimmy Wallington?
You are listening to the Screen Directors Playhouse, one of the weekly features on NBC's All-Star Festival, brought to you by RCA Victor world leader in radio, first in recorded music, first in television, by Cannon Towels, America's favorite towels that are special values now during the big Cannon Towel sales now going on at your favorite store, and by the makers of Anacin for the fast relief from the pain of headache, neuritis, and neuralgia. The Screen Directors Playhouse presentation of Rogue's Regiment, starring Dick Powell and Peggy Dow, with Alex Nicol, will continue in just a moment after a brief pause for station identification. This is the Screen Directors Playhouse. We continue with the third act of Rogue's Regiment, starring Dick Powell in his original role of Major Corbett, Peggy Dow as Lily, with Alex Nicol as Van Ratten.
For one solid week after Heindorf received the photograph, he was under constant surveillance. There was no doubt he was frightened, but since the camp was loaded with ex-German soldiers, it was impossible to record all of his conversations with the men. Then on December 6th, Legion Intelligence reported that Mark Van Ratten was in negotiation with Trond de Guion, the Indochina guerrilla leader, and was going to deliver a shipment of guns to him.
Yes, Corbett. It is very fortunate for us that Lily has secured a map which tells where the guns will be delivered.
Why don't you grab Van Ratten while he still has the guns?
And for the same reason, you do not arrest Heindorf. If he can lead you to Martin Brunner, then Van Ratten can lead us to Trond de Guion.
No, he'd be too smart for that. Van Rat would never leave town.
Yeah, he couldn't. We are watching him. But the guns will leave, and our troops will be there ahead of them. Come in.
Colonel, sir, Sergeant Stein to see you.
In the other room, Corbett.
Very well, sir.
Have Stein come in, Cobb.
Yes, sir. The Colonel will see you, Sergeant Stein.
Thank you, Shane. Colonel, sir?
At ease, Sergeant. What is it you want?
I wish to apply for transfer to another regiment, sir.
Why?
Because, well, frankly, sir, if I stay here, there will be trouble, and very soon.
What do you mean, trouble?
I have an enemy in the 13th Brigade, sir. A man who has twice threatened to kill me.
What is his name?
I cannot tell you that, sir. He's a good enough soldier, and I have nothing against him. It's an old hatred he has for me from the last war.
Are you certain that is all you wish to tell me?
Yes, sir. But if you please, Colonel, this is an urgent request.
Yes, I can see that.
Please.
I cannot promise it, Sergeant, but I will do what I can to arrange a transfer. Carry on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Corbett. Major Corbett. Did you hear?
That I did. Oh, this is it, sir. We've scared him out. That guy's terrified.
Yes, but of whom? We still don't know that.
No, but we're getting hot, Colonel. Red hot. Martin Brunner is here, in the Legion, in the Citadel. Not 50 yards from us at this moment. Two pertinent items noteworthy of special mention. Dossier military files, the very confidential ones, had been rifled. Someone had been checking to see what information they contained, to discover whether my picture was private. Item number 2, I received a note asking for a meeting that night at the Café La Petite Tonkinoise. It was unsigned. Naturally, I kept the appointment. It wasn't very long before I was joined in the booth by Sergeant Heindorf. Sit down, Sergeant. I was expecting you.
Yes, I wanted to talk to you.
Why didn't you sign the note? What's the matter? Don't you know how to spell Heindorf, Sergeant Stein?
That is why I wanted to talk to you.
Well, before we begin our little chat, I'd like to tell you that I don't plan on being target for tonight.
I don't understand.
But from where I sit, I'm what you call a geranium. I can get potted from 3 sides.
You're making a great mistake. I come here as a gentleman.
Which is the same as saying I come here to bury you. Now pick up the salt shaker or something, whatever your prearranged signal is, and call over the bloodhound.
I swear no one knows of this meeting.
Okay, I'll let you in on another one. If I'm hurt, the commandant of the Legion gets the picture. And I'm sure you wouldn't want that to happen.
Where did you get that picture?
Well, I'm the best little file clerk in the business. You have such an ugly face, Heindorf, I recognized it immediately. And I also know who the man with his back to the camera is. Martin Brunner. Surprised?
How much will you take for that photograph?
You don't have enough money.
Just tell me how much.
Now, let's put it this way. Your life.
What do you mean?
It isn't worth a plugged nickel as long as Brunner's around. You're a threat to his life. You can identify him, and you're frightened. Plenty frightened.
Oh, I'm not afraid of Brunner. Well, why should I be? I haven't seen him in years.
That's why you asked for a transfer out of Saigon. Don't hand me that. Go on and get him. I'll wait here for both of you.
Nine.
Heindorf rose and lurched sideways. A bullet plunked into the seat he had vacated. The one with my name on it did likewise, for I had hit the floor and was crawling under a cigarette butt when it came. Brunner had tried for both of us, but he'd tried for Heindorf first, and Heindorf knew it. I decided to let him stew a little. The following morning, acting on Lily's information, the patrol of about 100 of us, including Sergeant Heindorf, left to ambush and capture the guerrilla chief Cran de Guillaume. For hours, I worked over Heindorf. What about Heindorf? Did you go free?
No.
You've nothing to lose but your life. He's amongst us, isn't he?
Leave me alone.
Okay. Have it your own way. Who killed the Arab who removed the SS Elite tattoo marks? Was it Brunner? Did he remove yours? Who sent you, Van Ratten? How much do you have to pay him?
Leave me alone, I said.
You know, the Vietnamese will fight. And in a fight, someone usually gets killed. I'll bet 3 Croix de Guerres against 1 Reichsmedal it'll be you, Heindorf.
Nine. Now leave me alone.
Holy Missouri mule, that guy's ready to bust out crying.
He will before long. Don't worry, Cobb. The ambush we'd planned on came off as scheduled, only we were on the wrong end. Somehow the guerrillas had gotten the guns and were busy showing us they knew how to use them.
Want to make a bet on our chances, Corbett? No reasonable offer refused.
Sure, but who'd collect it? Start working the walkie-talkie, O'Hara.
Yeah. Cameron to the 6th. Cameron trying to come to the 6th.
That fella could be a nuisance.
Ammunition! Someone give me ammunition!
You've got more than you can handle now, Sergeant. What are you so nervous about, them or Martin Brunner?
We'll never get out of this. None of it. No! They'll wipe us out!
Cameron to sea! Corbett!
I'll take over. Cameron! Trying to contact.
Clear here.
I'll trade places, Colonel.
Where are you?
We're at a point 57 north and 48 east.
Begin. We are on our way.
I looked around for Heindorf. He was zigzagging at top speed for the jungle. He almost made it, but at the edge of the underbrush, someone, probably Brunner, gave it to him in the back. I had at least 50 Germans about me from which to choose the marksman, not a very good one. For Heindorf was still fighting and kicking as the guerrillas swarmed over him and carried him away.
Why don't we follow him, Corbett? Get him back.
I'm all for it.
Perhaps he deserted under fire, Corbett.
So what, Racket?
Even if we could rescue him, which we cannot, he would be shot.
Why you in such a sweat about the sergeant, Corbett? He was no good anyway.
Yeah, and he was a sergeant. It ain't every day you could lose one of them.
This was one sergeant I didn't want to lose. Hours later, the troop was saved by the 6th Regiment. Bedraggled but not beaten, we returned to Saigon with a group of guerrilla prisoners. I never felt lower in my life. The loss of Heindorf was a severe blow. I was back where I started from, nowhere.
Do you know what you are saying?
Oh, sure, I'm certain of it, Lily. Martin Brunner was one of our patrol. That's why Heindorf ran out. He took the chance of being shot at or captured rather than face it out with Brunner, who he knew would kill him.
And they took him prisoner?
Yes. Which means we'll never lay eyes on him again, or learn from him who Brunner is. Unless
what?
If I could only get him out somehow. We caught a bunch of Vietnamese in the fight, but McClare tells me they've never agreed to exchange prisoners.
Oh, that's the call. The show will start soon.
Oh, tell me you've missed me, darling.
Oh, listen to my song tonight. So I will tell you what I think.
Okay. But in the meantime, I'd like something on account.
Oh... Your account is overdrawn, monsieur.
Don't worry, dear. I'll make it good. All right.
Ah, so we meet again, Mr. Corbett.
So we do. I'll be seeing you, Lily. Good night, Mr. Van Ratten.
Lily, has this rude fellow upset you?
To the contrary, he's quite charming.
Oh?
Are you a little jealous, Mark?
Yes, intensely. That is why I've come to tell you something, Lily. We've got to leave Indochina as quickly as possible. The French believe they have defeated Trintignant, but they don't know him as I do. I have 2 tickets here to Singapore for tomorrow night. One is for you if you'll come with me.
Well, must I give you an answer now, Mark?
No, but by tomorrow at the latest.
I still say this is a crazy plan, Corbett. You haven't one chance in 100 to get back here alive, even if you reach Eindhoven.
I know that, Colonel, but it's the only thing we've got left to try.
Suppose you are taken prisoner in Trintignant's camp, and there's little doubt you will be if you proceed with this insane idea. How can you hope to escape? No other legionnaires ever have.
Colonel McClare, I fully realize all the risks involved. But if it's only one chance in a million, I've got to take it. I've put in a lot of years searching for Brunner. Now, when I know he's practically within my grasp, I'll do anything to get him.
Even give up your life, Corbett? Well, every man to his own way of being a hero. As for me...
Well, I'm no hero, Colonel McClare. But I've got a job to do, and I've become very stubborn about writing Finney to Martin Brunner's questionable career.
Very well, Corbett. There's nothing left to do now but go to the jail and select the Vietnamese prisoner.
Now, if we turn this prisoner loose, he's bound to head for Trintignant's camp. I'll follow.
I'll wish you good luck now, Corbett. We've agreed on the rendezvous, and I'll send a motorized patrol to pick you up. If you can get away. Wait here. Jailer, open the door.
Yes, sir.
Rouse the prisoners.
Come on, up on your feet, you guys. Up, come on. That's it, get up. Now, quiet down. All right, quiet.
I am Colonel Mauclair, Commandant of the Citadel. I have a message which I want taken back to your leader, Trintignant. You will select one man among you to carry my letter. That man will go free. But I wish the reply to be returned by one of my soldiers now being held prisoner in your camp. You have 1 minute to make your choice.
Commandant, I have been selected.
Very well, you may come out. Here's the letter. Tell Trintignant I shall expect an answer in 3 days. Cobb, escort this man to the rear gate.
Yes, sir.
Through the dark, narrow streets and the alleys of the sleeping city of Saigon, I followed the released guerrilla. Our paths were separated momentarily when I was interrupted by a drunken legionnaire who wanted to know where I was going and why he couldn't join me. It was Riker, the comrade from the train. I managed to brush him off and again picked up the trail. It led to a small Buddhist temple, which I entered. It was dark, with only a few candles burning. A life-size idol faced me from the altar. Cautiously, I moved forward, and then stopped as the idol came to life and the Malay kriss appeared in his hand. It was the guerrilla I had been following. I got the idea and stood quietly as they tied my hands.
Why did you follow me?
I used to be a Boy Scout, and I was trying to find 2 stones so I could light a fire.
I'm not in a playful mood. Why did you follow me?
Well, it could be I'm one of your sympathizers. Who knows? I might be a friend of Mark Van Ratten.
That is not true.
Well, that one I'll have to admit. Guy'd have to be a sucker to be a friend of Van Ratten.
Why did you follow me? Your colonel's letter was a lie, a trap. It said nothing of value to him or me.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't the letter addressed to Trintignant? Why don't you let him judge?
I am Trintignant. I
have no recollection of the ensuing hours since I was battered into unconsciousness. When I came to, I was behind a barbed wire fence in the guerrilla camp. Immediately, I began searching for Heindorf. I found him in a crude bamboo hut, gravely wounded and feverish, with the look of a man who was dying.
Corbett.
Yes, Heindorf.
Deutschland,
including getting shot in the back. That wasn't in your contract. Sure, I wanted you to lead me to Martin Brunner, but he got you first. You knew that when he shot you in the back. Which one of us was he? Why do you protect him, Heindorf? You're dying and he killed you in cold blood. If you don't tell me who he is, he'll never be found. He may be out of reach even now. Tell me, Heindorf. Is it Gerhardt? Hoffmiller? Is it Riker?
Riker?
It is Riker, isn't it? He is Martin Brunner.
Yes. Yes.
I buried Heindorf that afternoon, guarded by a lone Vietnamese guerrilla armed with a rifle. As I tamped the mound with my shovel, the guard mumbled for me to hurry. I hurried, all right. I flung a shovel full of dirt in his face and made a run for the nearby lagoon. I hit the water in a flat racing dive. And by the time he got the sand out of his eyes, I had crossed the lagoon and was safe in the jungle. I headed for Saigon and Martin Brunner. Meanwhile, Lily was with Colonel Mauclair.
You said Van Ratten wanted you to leave with him on the plane tonight?
Yes.
Then go with him.
You will let him go?
Yes. But only as far as the airport. We have found everything we have to know about Van Ratten, who sent him the guns, and how they were sent. He was paid a fortune for the job, and he would take it with him on the plane. We want to find the money on him. Call him. Tell him you will go.
Very well.
Yes?
Mark, I am leaving with you.
Oh, this makes me very happy, my dear. I cannot tell you what it means to me.
When shall I meet you and where?
Our plane leaves at midnight, but I have some last-minute business. Be here at my house at 11. Could you take a taxi?
Yes, of course.
Oh, goodbye, my dear. I love you very much.
When I reached Saigon, I checked in with Colonel Mauclair and divulged Tron de Guillon's identity. In turn, he told me about Lily's impending meeting at 11 o'clock with Van Ratten. Naturally, he was elated at discovering that Riker was Martin Brunner. I searched the barracks for the Nazi butcher, but he was nowhere around. So I checked into the cafe, La Petite Tonkinoise.
Well, dust my britches if it ain't Corbett. Where you been?
Snake hunting, Cobb.
You look like the snake got you.
Say, have you seen anything of Riker here tonight?
Riker? What do you want with him?
He's my pal. Have you seen him?
Yeah, about a half hour ago. He was having a drink with some guy.
Who?
The guy that's always making eyes at Lily, the rat or something.
Huh? What time is it?
Almost 11.
I'll see you later.
Hey, where you going?
To bite a snake. I arrived at Van Ratten's place, and as I walked up the stairs, I could hear voices from the open window.
Oh, you can speak freely in front of Lily. She's of the French intelligence.
Mark!
Are you insane, Van Ratten?
Oh, you needn't worry about Lily. You needn't worry that she'll ever repeat our conversation. Be seated here, Riker.
Thank you.
Now, shall we settle our business? I have the $5,000 for you, but there's a small problem with your passport. We had no photograph of you, and that is one thing impossible to forge.
I remember that. I took one from the Legion files.
Excellent. These American bills were quite expensive. Together with this passport, you owe me $20,000. You have it with you, of course.
No, I didn't have to bring it. It was already here. Where is the tool chest you've been storing for me?
There, by the divan.
The tools in that chest are all made of platinum. Why and where they come from needn't concern you. But altogether, they are worth $250,000.
Or perhaps more.
If you doubt it, test them.
It isn't necessary. You see, I have already tested them.
You have done what?
I borrowed the chisel from the chest to open something, and it broke in half. So naturally, I became curious.
They were not meant to be used. But since you know their value, you can take what I owe you.
And what would you consider a fair price?
You said 20,000.
You didn't let me finish, Brunner.
Brunner?
This is a day for surprises, my dear.
Then add this to your collection.
I fear I was careless. My pistol
is in that drawer. Close it.
Now, where were we?
You were about to ask for a fair price. I give you the answer. And now, Fräulein, it is your turn.
There was nothing for me to do at that moment but break in. Then the realization came to me that I was unarmed. But there's an old saying, fools rush in where angels fear to tread.
Corbett, welcome. Up with your hands.
Sure, Martin Brunner.
Brunner?
Yes, the butcher of Dakar.
Shall I add you two to my list, comrade? Yes, I shall. Turn around, Corbett.
Oh, please.
Do as I say. Have you ever enjoyed the spectacle of watching a man die, Fräulein?
Don't answer him, Lily. Come on, get it over with, Brunner.
There's no hurry. The Nazis have plenty of time. We have patience. There will be another Führer. Today we are defeated, but tomorrow the world. Tell me, Herr Corbett, have you confided my identity to anyone?
You think I'd be sucker enough to keep such good news to myself? You're as good as hung right now. How do you figure to get out of Saigon? Everyone knows your face.
I already have considered a plan. You will save my life.
I will?
Yes. That is why you are still alive. You will escort me to the plane which will carry me to safety.
And supposing I refuse?
You won't. I promise you your freedom.
You mean you expect me to believe you?
You have no other alternative. Oh, yes. Herr von Ratten had 2 plane tickets. I shall take Lily with me as a hostage to be sure that my trip is not interrupted. You understand?
On the nose.
Now, we leave.
Aren't you forgetting something?
I do not think so.
After all the work and trouble you went to, aren't you going to take these tools?
The tools, yes. Yes, of course. This is another sample of Nazi superiority. I carried this fortune under the very noses of the stupid French and American agents.
Oh, so you did. And the least I can do is to help you get started on your journey. Here, cash. Let's use a little of this on that wrist. That's better. Now we're both unarmed. My instructions are to bring you back alive. That's what I'm going to do. Just barely. In the gray dawn at Nuremberg, the last chapter for the Nazi war criminals was a job for the hangman. And the last steps of Martin Brunner on that scaffold are a warning to the world that such men must not march again. There is no other road to justice, mankind's dream for a lasting peace. End of report.
Our thanks to Dick Powell, Peggy Dow, and Alex Nicole for an excellent performance. Our stars will return in just a moment with screen director Robert Florey. Next week, our story will be one which has been enjoyed in novel and picture by millions of Americans. Back Street, with Charles Boyer, starring in his original role. In future weeks, it will be the pleasure of Screen Directors Playhouse to bring you other outstanding adaptations, such as Beyond Glory, starring Alan Ladd, The Gunfighter, starring Gregory Peck, and DOA, starring Edmund O'Brien. Now, here again are tonight's stars, Dick Powell and Peggy Dow.
Ladies and gentlemen, the making of a movie involves hundreds of technicians and artists in numerous capacities. And the boss man, the guiding genius of all these talents, is the director of the piece. Under his sure hand, the motion picture is gradually brought to life. I'm very proud to present the director of Rogue's Regiment, my good friend Robert Florey.
Thank you, Dick. It was a fine experience directing Rogue's Regiment, and I really enjoy listening to you this evening. And Peggy Dar, it was a pleasure to hear you too. I saw you in Harvey, and you were wonderful.
Thank you very much, Mr. Flora. You're very kind.
Oh, Dick, I've been listening to your own radio show, Richard Diamond. It's excellent. I hope that with all your activities, you will have time to come back to our Screen Directors Playhouse again, and soon. We always present the best, and you are. This goes for you too, Peggy.
Please do invite me back again soon. Good night.
Ditto for me, Bob. Good night, all.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Rogue's Regiment was presented through the courtesy of Universal International Pictures, now releasing Hollywood Story, co-starring Richard Conte and Julia Adams. Dick Powell can currently be seen in the RKO production Cry Danger. Peggy Dow appeared through the courtesy of Universal International Pictures, who will soon release The Prince Who Was a Thief, a Technicolor production co-starring Tony Curtis and Piper Laurie. Alex Nicol appeared through the courtesy of Universal International Pictures, who will soon release Smuggler's Island, a Technicolor production co-starring Jeff Chandler and Evelyn Keyes. Included in tonight's cast were Ned Lefevre as the General, Stan Waxman as Colonel Mauclair, Paul Dubov as Cobb, Ry Billsbury as Carl Riker, Don Diamond as Tron de Guian, Ken Harvey as O'Hara, and Henry Rowland as Heindorf. Rogue's Regiment was adapted for radio by Jack Rubin. Screen Directors Playhouse is produced by Howard Wiley and directed by Bill Karn. Portions of tonight's broadcast were transcribed. This is Jimmy Wallington speaking, and inviting you to listen next week when Screen Directors Playhouse presents Back Street, starring Charles Boyer with screen director Robert Stevenson. Listen again next week to Screen Directors Playhouse, one of the weekly features on NBC's All-Star Festival of Comedy, Music, Mystery, and Drama. Listen tomorrow evening to the one and only Duffy's Tavern, the Friday night feature of the All-Star Festival. This is the story of two persons set in a background of millions of people. The boy was very rich and the girl very poor. It's not a very pleasant story. As a matter of fact, it's the most hated story of the century. It's cancer, the grim reaper, which does not differentiate between rich and poor. It's your obligation to give so that you, whether you are rich or poor, can receive the same benefits from research. Cancer can be beaten, and you can do it.
Yes, you can. I have told my cancer story before. I have not been afflicted myself with cancer. My mother and my father both died of cancer. All of my father's brothers and sisters died of cancer. And all of my cousins, except for one, has died of cancer. So do your part. Keep your eye on it for yourself, would you please? I'd like to have you around to enjoy these shows for years to come. Screen Directors Playhouse, 73 years ago, May 17, 1951. Rogue's Regiment, starring Dick Powell. When we wrap up this edition of Classic... Oh, tomorrow, as I said, all the shows, all of the long-form shows are features from Sunday, May 18th, 1958, with yours truly, Johnny Dollar, Bob Bailey. Suspense, 0 Hour, starring Evelyn Rudy, the child star. Also, we will have an episode of Frontier Gentlemen, starring John Daner. And we will have an episode of Luke Slaughter of Tombstone, starring Sam Buffington. And, of course, we'll cap it with another episode of Claudia. But right now, we're going to cap everything off Wow. We're going to have another episode of Claudia today. That's up next.
This is Art Linkletter. In event of atomic bombing or some other catastrophe, here's something important to remember. It will help save lives, including your own. Do not use the telephone. Leave the line open for official rescue and relief. This is your part in civil defense. Remember, don't use the phone. Leave the line clear for safety of your own life and the lives of others.
And it's that way for most every emergency. Unless there's an emergency, don't use the phone. And learn more about civil defense, civildefensemuseum.org. There are lots of information there that can help you in planning your home. Now, an episode of Claudia, wonderful show, 76 years ago, May 17th, 1948.
Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia, based on the famous play and novels by Rose Franken. Brought to you transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
Boom doodle doo, boom doodle doo, boom doodle doo.
David, would you close the window, darling?
Yes'm.
Feels cool this morning, doesn't it?
I just let Bluff out the back door. He said it was going to be another nice day.
Oh, don't you wish you didn't have to go into New York?
Don't even mention it.
Frankly, I don't see why you have to be an architect all the way in New York on a morning like this. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have to be an architect in New York on a morning like this mainly because somebody has to make some money to keep this family going.
Yes, especially now that we have this house. And speaking of money, our new maid's coming this morning.
I think I'm following.
I'm afraid we won't need any money for the new maid. It's wonderful how cheap they are when they don't take the job.
It hardly costs a penny not to hire a maid.
All they ask is their car fare.
Nice of them, isn't it?
Very, very.
Throw me a pair of socks, darling, would you?
Where are they?
In the drawer. Where do you think?
You really need a maid, don't you? I seem to dress without help. Here you are. Catch. Nice brown woolly pair.
The way you throw.
What's the matter with it?
I'm standing here by the bed, not over by the window.
So I don't throw straight.
I'll never let you play on my baseball team.
I am heartbroken. David, do you think she'll stay?
Who?
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 Honestly, sometimes I feel as if I'm talking to thin air. Gertrude, the new maid.
Oh, Gertrude.
Answer me. Do you think she will like it here and stay?
I don't know. She hasn't come yet. I like it here.
Goop. When she does come, do you think she'll like it?
I don't know. We'll have to ask her nicely if she will.
I'm going right on talking as if you weren't here at all.
That should be interesting.
Personally, I think she's going to be marvelous.
Who?
And she's going to love cats and dogs.
She'll probably be terrified by them.
Who?
All right. Now we're even.
Almost.
It's settled once and for all that we're both talking about Gertrude, the prodigal maid. Shake.
I've been thinking about her all night.
You must be exhausted.
I would be if I hadn't slept so well. You know, she isn't really a maid at all.
No?
No. She's different. I mean, she's not a professional.
No.
She's only a widow who's coming to help us out.
Only a widow to help us out.
Dope.
Go on, talk as if I'm not here.
Gertrude is a neighbor, and that's the way I'm going to treat her.
I only hope that's the way she'll treat you.
And no heavy cleaning, David. We mustn't ask that.
Farthest thing from my mind.
Then it has been on your mind?
It has not.
Then how could it be the farthest thing?
Well, every talent helps.
Gertrude is going to stay if I have to do all the cooking and Mama has to darn all the socks.
If that happens, I go.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Now, this is the way it's going to be. You pretend to be Gertrude, David, and I'll pretend to be me.
You'll pretend to be you.
Yes.
Well, don't strain yourself.
Oh.
Now, am I a mousy Gertrude or a mountainous Gertrude?
A little bit of both, just to be on the safe side.
All right.
Her voice sounded mountainous.
I'm ready.
Come in, Gertrude. Now I want you to feel completely at home, Gertrude. Consider this is your house.
Too small to be my house.
Oh, don't worry about that, Gertrude. My husband is a simply marvelous architect, and he's adding to the house all the time. Just tell him what you want, and we'll build it.
I want a glass enclosed shower and my breakfast in bed.
You can have all your meals in bed, Gertrude. My husband himself will be happy to serve you.
I don't like your husband. Goodbye.
I don't blame you. I don't like him either. I'll send him away if you'll stay.
Hey, look at the time.
Oh, don't mind that clock. It's not right.
How do you know?
It's fast.
It wasn't yesterday.
Well, that was yesterday. I know it's fast because I put it ahead.
I suppose you had an excellent reason.
I did. I put the clock ahead so I'd never be late again.
Oh.
I know how you hate me to be late. Now, is that an excellent reason, or isn't it?
Well, come over here. I'll tell you.
I don't trust you.
Come here, I said.
I'm here. Oh, David, it must have been an excellent reason.
Now, come on. Whether it's early or late, I want my breakfast.
So do I.
I've worked up a ferocious appetite, impersonating Gertrude. As soon as I put on my coat...
David, what time do you think she'll come?
Oh, about 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Knowing Gertrude as well as I do, she probably doesn't like getting up early.
Then she'll probably leave at 2 o'clock because she doesn't like staying late. But I don't care, even if she leaves.
Hey, you're not giving up so easily, are you?
No, but I don't have any false hopes. Then I won't be disappointed.
You'll miss a lot of fun that way.
It's worth it. We've had so many false alarms with maids.
Now, let me tell you something.
What, David?
I don't care if we never get a maid.
Well, that's a fine thing to say. You're the one who's been insisting.
I still don't care, because that's the only way we'll get one. Now, come on, to breakfast.
Oh, David, I'd be lost without you.
Not at all. You'd manage perfectly. But don't ever get lost, see?
Never, I promise. I'm starving.
And I am ready.
I'm 8 steps ahead of you.
I'm not going to have much time for
I
breakfast.
don't care how much you have to hurry to get to the station. You eat your breakfast.
You and breakfast. You have a fixation on eating breakfast.
It comes from fixing them. Ooh.
One of these days, I'm going to make you eat your pun.
For breakfast?
Claudia, wait a minute.
What's the matter?
Do you smell something burning?
I smell something cooking.
Bacon.
Honestly, that mother of mine, she had to get up and start cooking breakfast.
That's what we get for loitering.
Loitering, we were discussing something very important.
Yeah, we're loitering now.
Let's tiptoe into the kitchen and surprise her.
And after we surprise her, I'm going to take her over my knee. She's supposed to be a guest here.
Mama doesn't know what being a guest means.
Will you look at that? She set the table, too.
Wait till I give her a piece of my mind.
Can you spare it?
Mama, what do you mean? Mama, what do you mean by coming down here and cooking? Oh, hello.
You, Mrs. Norton, good morning.
David, this is...
Just call me Gertrude. The whole name's Gertrude Hanson, but just call me Gertrude. The back door opened, so I just came in. You ought to lock doors at night.
Well, we're awfully glad you're here.
That's good.
Isn't it, David? Say something.
Yes, quite a surprise.
Well, I figures I get started early, I finish early.
Oh, so that's it.
Then I can go home, clean my own house, get back here in time for dinner.
Oh, sounds like an awfully full day, doesn't it, David?
It does to me.
Gertrude never minds a lot of work. She likes to keep busy. When my husband was alive, I was busy all the time.
Men do need an awful lot of care, don't they?
Your experience has been so widespread, hasn't it, Mrs. Norton?
Very extensive, my experience. Gertrude, we hope you're going to like it here.
I'm not fussy. Now you better sit right down, or the cereal's going to be overcooked. The bacon dried out, the muffins burned, and the eggs hard-boiled. I dropped them when I heard you moving around upstairs.
Gertrude, that's really a great deal more than I usually eat for breakfast.
Come along, David. Come along. We'll sit right down in the dining room and get started.
But, darling, I only...
If everything sounds delicious, Gertrude, just bring it in whenever you're ready. Come on, David.
You're a man, Mr. Norton. You gotta eat a decent breakfast. I used to feed my husband a great big breakfast every day. Rock of ages, cleft from me.
Oh, where is her husband now?
Hush up, David.
I'm not going to eat eggs and cereal and bacon
David,
and...
please, today. Just today.
Oh, all right. But just today.
Thanks. What do you think of her?
I am bowled over.
Coming so early and starting right off to
Here's
cook.
your orange juice and some stewed prunes on the side for Mr. Norton.
You love stewed prunes. Don't you, David?
Do I?
Yes.
Yes, I guess I will.
I brought breakfast up to your mother on a tray.
Oh, that was certainly thoughtful of you.
She sort of didn't want to put me to the trouble, but Gertrude don't mind a little extra trouble.
Poor Mama.
She hates trays.
I'll bet she doesn't know what hit her.
Eat your prunes.
I don't even know what hit me, and I've seen her.
Eat your prunes. You want to offend Gertrude?
Just this morning. Now, don't ever take advantage of me again.
David, do you think she'll stay?
Well, she certainly seems to be cutting out a niche for herself, a nice large one.
She's not a bit like what I expected. I thought she'd be sort
Here's
of...
the cereal and the cream, or do you like your eggs and bacon first? Some folks do.
Oh, this is fine, Gertrude. Thank you.
Scream when you want me. I'm making some dough for a rhubarb pie. I'm waiting on the rail.
Rhubarb. I hate rhubarb.
You'll like it and eat it.
I'll eat it all right, but I don't promise you I'll like it.
Well, that doesn't matter anymore. Well, that's the last of the prunes, thank heavens.
You look better already.
Well, I
Yes,
don't
you
feel
do.
better.
Claudia always said you should eat a good breakfast.
This isn't good. This is terrible.
Mrs. Norton, I wrote a list out of the things you'll need. When you go downtown, you can pick 'em up. Or would you like I should telephone?
I usually go down to the market.
That's okay with Gertrude. This afternoon I'll start on the laundry, then tomorrow I can do the ironing. Next week I'll start putting the house in a regular schedule.
Well, you just let me know.
From now on, you don't have to worry about a thing. Leave it all to Gertrude.
I certainly do appreciate that.
Well, I always figures that I'm around to take things. So I just take over and do things as I see fit. I'll get the bacon and eggs. You haven't much more time to catch a train, Mr. Norton. I've been working on the railroad.
I wish she'd get off of that railroad or at least go on to the next stop.
Maybe she'll sing another song tomorrow. Unless... David, you really think she'll stay? At least till tomorrow?
I think she'll stay all right. The only question is whether there'll be room for us to stay, too. David's headed for the railroad every livelong day. Whoop, whoop.
What if the family invited friends to drop in this evening? Would you have to scurry around trying to find refreshment to offer them? If you had plenty of Coca-Cola on ice, you wouldn't have to think twice about company, expected or unexpected. For ice-cold Coke invites people to make themselves at home. It offers everyone the pause that refreshes, and that includes the hostess, too. How's your supply of Coke? Hadn't you better order a carton or a case today?
Say, Mr. King, I think everything's going to work out fine.
I'll bet it is, Gertrude. Claudia and David have been looking far and wide for someone like you to help them out.
And I'm the one to do that. Things are going to hum in the Norton home with Gertrude round.
They'll not only hum, they'll crow.
Who's going to do the crowing?
Who usually does? A rooster, of course.
A rooster? I seen a cat and a dog around here, but no rooster.
Come around tomorrow, Gertrude, and you'll see a rooster.
An eaten rooster?
Well, he was bought to be eaten, but you know Claudia.
Well, I'll get around tomorrow to find out. So long, Mr. King.
Goodbye, Gertrude. Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now, this is Joe King saying au revoir. And remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes. And ice-cold Coca-Cola is everywhere. These broadcasts are adapted for radio by Manya and Roger Starr, and the entire production is supervised and directed by William Brown Maloney.
And that episode from 76 years ago today, May 17th, 1948, Claudia, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream, and we will see you tomorrow for more great Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox.